in your home? The risk of them leaving the house unnoticed is real and terrifying. But you can protect your loved ones with Vivant Home Security.
Alarm on.
Our child has autism. He doesn't usually elope, but one day he did, and it was the most terrifying moment of our lives.
If I didn't have a home security system, I would have realized way too late he's gone.
Right now, Vivant is offering a free doorbell camera with any new plan, plus free installation and low monthly monitoring plans. Smart locks, lights, cameras, and more makes Vivant Home Security the smartest way to protect your family and prevent a tragedy. Vivant is the #1 smart home service provider in the U.S. Protection is just a phone call away. Call 800-953-6693. That's 800-953-6693. Monthly service agreement required for free installation.
I received a call one time, and the man said, "You probably won't call me back because I'm just a nobody." I immediately called him back. Nobody's a nobody.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan.
I always wanted to be the lawyer who represented the little guy, the voiceless, the powerless.
I was rear-ended by a car probably doing about 50 or 55 miles an hour. My car caught on fire. I'm a paraplegic, so I couldn't get out of the car. They were struggling to get me out of the vehicle. After the accident, I gave Morgan & Morgan a call, and they understood what I was going through, and they were there to help me each step of the way. It made me feel that I had people behind my back to help me and resolve the case.
I represented him, and we did well because we get the chance to help people put their lives back together and to go on as best they can after a life-altering day.
There's only one you, there's only one Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Auto Group Studios, experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
For a complete list of Talk Radio 1210 WPHT's contest rules, go to 1210WPHT.com/rules.
Do you think that banking is boring? At PNC, we know that meeting the banking needs of the community is anything but boring. That's why PNC Bank geared up this year and introduced the mobile branch across the region to bring banking services to underserved neighborhoods. And long before that, PNC Community Development Banking was leading the way in investing in the economic health of our neighborhoods. To see the brilliant results that boring banking can deliver for you, stop into any PNC branch right here in the greater Philadelphia community. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-390-0874. 800-390-0874. 800-390-0874.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios, powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Matt Rooney on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
You nearly blew me over there, Daniel. Try that again. Try to talk again.
It happens.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know. It wasn't anything you said of great import.
No, it wasn't. It happens.
Yeah, for some reason my headphone volume is a tad low. And then you spoke and it was like the heavens opened up and the voice of God.
You try turning it up?
Yeah, I tried turning it up. It's
all
still
right.
A little low.
Well, that's all that I can do right now.
That's all you can do right now?
That's about my troubleshooting techniques.
Wow. What a great way to remind us why we missed you. That technological prowess that we need here on the Matt Rooney Show. Good evening, boys and girls, and welcome back to another edition of our little program here on 1210 WPHT. I am the aforementioned Matt Rooney, joining you for 3 hours of fun and games tonight on 1210. Big show in store for you. There's a lot cracking over the weekend. Tariffs. Marco Rubio's got news.
Woo!
Well, that was...
Sorry, I was just excited for the show, so I wanted to...
Were you testing the headphones again?
Yeah, well, that was testing headphones, but also excited for what's coming up on the show, so I just wanted to show some enthusiasm, because I got my yearly review, and that was the one thing, is like, you don't show enough enthusiasm. So I was like, all right, I got you. So... There's that one.
Maybe you shouldn't be such a miserable, can't say it on the air without getting fined. That was the exact feedback that you...
SOB, you can say that.
Yeah, well, I was thinking of something a little more adult.
Maybe not.
A little bit saltier. I was going to put a little more spin on that fastball.
If you're going to call me Mexican, just say it.
No. We know you're only 1/8.
Correct.
1/8 Puerto Ricano.
Cuban,
whatever.
Not the same
We're
thing.
all God's creatures, Daniel.
Yep.
But Dan Valdez, our producer here on the Matt Rooney Show, has been gone now for, did we see you last at Christmas? I don't even remember.
The first Sunday in January.
In January. Yeah, you checked in to make sure that we're still a program and that we hadn't been canceled over the holidays. And then you just peaced out. And we've been doing just fine without you, but you've returned.
Yeah, that's because I have my full-time job was demanding, and they're like, we need you for every single week in January. And I said, okay.
How dare you try to make money?
To put into perspective, I had about 4 days off.
Yeah.
From not doing any job for my full-time job, like any full-time gigs. So
now you've been cranking.
And those have been mainly Saturdays, and all my Sundays have been travel days or just days that I don't want to work because it's the only day off I get.
Yeah. No, I don't hold it against you. We also don't miss you.
That's fine.
But we don't hold it against you.
That's fine.
But you've returned.
Yep.
You've appeared. You've made an appearance. And it's only for 1 week, because next week, just to update everyone, when we were here
we're actually
last,
going on a swingers cruise.
Wow. Okay. Of all the things to troll people with, swingers cruise is where your mind went.
Hey, man. Got to keep them on your toes, you know what I mean?
You got to keep them guessing out there. In Matt Rooney Show land. I'll tell you what. See, this is, when you've got, for example, Justin Otero, right, one of our great producers here at the program, you get quality board operation, you get humor, you get invaluable insight. When you're here, just perversion.
Yeah, that's
and
the fun
derision.
part. That's the fun part.
It's the fun. Yeah,
my mind works in mysterious ways, and I don't know if it's a blessing or if it's a curse or what it is, but I'm a grown man. I can do what I want.
Your mother is a lovely woman. The only mistake she made was dropping you on your head.
I wasn't even dropped.
When you were an
Fun
infant.
fact, wasn't even dropped. I was perfectly...
Were you kicked by a horse?
I was bitten by a horse.
Where? Well, don't answer that. Don't answer that.
In Assateague Island. In Maryland.
Physically Assateague Island, or
Yes.
was that some kind of euphemism for a part of your body?
No, like actually Assateague Island in Maryland.
Actually Assateague
Island. I must have gotten too close to the horse, and next thing you know, takes a nice bite out of my chest.
Your chest?
Yeah, it was right in the...
And you don't have much in the
No,
region
I
going
didn't.
on.
And we went to the park ranger, and the park ranger's like, which horse was it? I'm going to go shoot it. We're like, what? What?
And now, ladies and gentlemen, you know why Dan is such a miserable, cynical person.
Because I shot the horse that bit me. I don't know what to tell you.
They shot the horse that bit me. Sounds like a Western. Over on YouTube, and by the way, you can watch over there on YouTube to confirm that I am indeed as handsome as I sound. Spoiler alert, more so. But you can head over to youtube.com/@1210 WPHT. Not only watch the show, but also participate in the comments, which are always subversive, mixing it up. Sometimes we have to, actually, we never really have to censor it. Sometimes we have to strategically ignore it. So
I don't put any censorship on the chat.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to stop myself right there because we actually don't censor. Sometimes we're tempted, but we don't. Hello, Suze loves Jeffy. Chris is there. Chris says Daniel lives in a pineapple under the sea.
Correct. I live next to a starfish on a rock.
Yeah.
And I live next to a squid who is in, like, I don't know what you want to call that, but yes, I live next to Squidward and Patrick.
Are they going to go on your cruise with you?
Probably.
Probably.
I don't know.
Probably.
Did you ever hear that the conspiracy theory that SpongeBob and Patrick are gay? We don't have time for it today, but I just want to put that in your mind.
No,
Anyway,
I think that
let's continue.
we should scrap tonight's program and talk about whether or not SpongeBob SquarePants is a member of the LGBTQ plus minus a tilde community.
Actually,
this is what the people want. Give it to them.
Didn't Daddy Trump take away the Q? Isn't it just LGBT now? Didn't I see something about that? Is that true? Yes, no?
Really? I saw
don't know.
that President Trump was moving to prevent federal workers from putting their pronouns in their profiles, which love. Can't get enough of that. I didn't hear that the Q was getting officially the axe. Does that mean the T is staying?
I might have heard that. Might have been fake news. Don't listen to me. Don't believe anything I just said.
Okay.
Might have been fake news. I saw it somewhere.
It could have been.
Yeah.
I think it should just be LGB, and there should kind of be like the B on the end there.
I'm controversial opinion. I'm fine with the LGBTQ. I just don't want the plus.
You just don't want the plus?
Yeah, like I'm fine.
What about the plus offends you?
We had
is it the unknowing? The unknown?
No, we had this discussion at my full-time job. It was me and another video guy that did it, and we were going down a list of like.
You're a challenge for HR no matter where you are.
We don't really have an HR department.
Thank God, for your sake.
And anyway, we had this conversation, and we were looking up like the different like sexualities of all of it, and it was like asexual, this, that, left, right, up, down, green, eggs, and ham. They're all essentially just bisexual, different. Like, but in a different name. You get what I'm saying?
Well, no, that's not true, because if you're gay, presumably you're not attracted to women. You have to be attracted to both to be bisexual, right?
Bisexual is both, yes.
Yes.
But there's other ones where it's like, oh, you're attracted to like the opposite sex or the opposite gender. I'm like, yeah, it's just
We used to just call it greedy.
That too. You know what? Let's just keep it greedy.
Pick a side. Well, we'll have to do a little deep dive to see if we can figure that out. But where we started with this whole tirade, because sometimes on this program we start going and then we're not really sure where we end up. We are in an upside down pineapple under the sea. We took a poll on last week's show. You weren't here for this, Daniel. Whether we should have a show on Super Bowl Sunday now that the Eagles are playing. And I think we actually ended slightly ahead in the poll that we should have the show. So all that really demonstrates is there's a lot of nerds out there in the Matt Rooney Show audience that would rather listen to me blather for 3 hours than watch the biggest football event of the year. But ultimately, the decision has been made. No Matt Rooney Show on Super Bowl Sunday. If you tune in, you're going to hear the actual Super Bowl. And then we'll be back the following week. I believe so. That's what the show sheet says.
Oh, didn't know that, but cool.
Yeah, it says Super Bowl.
Probably.
Either that or it's going to be Greg and Nick Kale like flicking paper footballs at each other on YouTube, which some of you would probably watch that.
It's fun.
Yeah, some of you are obsessed with 1210 WPHT, and we love it. The advertisers love it. Kind of weird, but we'll take it, right? But tonight, we've got a heck of a bowl program for you. This is the Matt Rooney Bowl tonight. We've got so much content, it should be illegal. Phil Murphy probably would make it illegal if he could, but we're on the other side of the river, so tough noogies. Phil, including two of my favorite regular guests that we have here on the Matt Rooney Show. We'll be joined in just about 10, 15 minutes or so by the great E.J. Antoni, our favorite economist here at 1210 WPHT. You may have heard.
Remember, we are New Jersey.
Stay out of this, Phil.
Remember, we are New Jersey.
He might be at the Democrat debate tonight. There's a Democrat gubernatorial debate.
I actually saw him when I did an event a couple months ago.
You're lucky he didn't bite you in the chest with those teeth.
I did.
You wouldn't have recovered.
I did an event for the Democratic governors, whatever it is, and he was one of them that was there.
Oh, the DGA. Did you introduce yourself?
Yes, I did the DGA. No, I did not introduce myself because I honestly just did not care. I was there to get a paycheck and get out.
I want my money and I want to get out of here.
So I just did my job, and I was like, that guy looks like a horse, and I left.
He does look like a horse, which given what you shared with us this evening, probably triggered you. So I'm sorry you had to deal with that. Thoughts and prayers, bud. But tonight, E.J. Antoni won't trigger you. over the weekend, I think Saturday, Donald Trump's tariffs went into effect against 3 countries, Mexico, Canada, and China, otherwise known as China. So China. We want to talk to E.J. Antoni about, hey, listen, what does this mean? What is the impact on our economy? What's the impact on the economies of the nations that are now being, that are staring down the barrel at these tariffs? I mean, I will tell you, my read is that they have a whole heck of a lot more to lose than we do. But we'll save that discussion for EJ when he arrives in just a little bit. And then later on in the program, in the third and final hour, because they're crazy enough to give us 3 hours around here, we're going to be joined by my main man, Dan Cerrucci. Now, Dan Cerrucci of dancerrucci.com often comes on the program to talk to us about whatever the big stories are for any given week. But this is a special week for the Matt Rooney Show and for my hangout during the week, SaveJersey.com, because we are one of the hosts of the first Republican gubernatorial debate of 2025 in New Jersey. That's right. The 4 main competitors, they are Jack Ciattarelli, Bill Spadea, Ed the Trucker Dorr, and John Bramnick, will meet at Rider University this Tuesday night, February 4th, for a debate that will be moderated by a couple folks, including yours truly. I will be one of the panelists asking the questions. So Dan, who's going to be covering the debate for both his website and SaveJersey.com, is going to join us tonight to give us a little bit of a preview. I started to say a moment ago, the Democrat debate is actually going on right now as we speak. So maybe at some point tonight we'll give you an update. And Dan, who's probably watching it, maybe can give us an update on what I am sure is an absolute horror show, because most of the Democrat candidates this year are to the left of Mao. So it's kind of a do or die situation for New Jersey if we're being honest about it. So we'll look forward to hear from Dan in just a little bit. And, sometimes we don't do it all the time here on the program, but sometimes we ask you a question. If you want to...
Canoe.
Excuse me?
Canoe. The answer is always canoe.
The answer is always canoe?
Or sea.
I hope you had the better strategy for that to get you through college. Well, I guess you did because you graduated, but...
I did graduate college.
When you didn't know the answer to a non-multiple choice question, you just wrote canoe?
Correct.
Oh boy. We know how to have all the best people around here at 1210, don't
Clearly
we?
It worked out, I'm here, didn't it?
Some people could draw the opposite inference by the fact that you end up here, but we won't do that because we're fans of you. We're fans of you, bub. Yeah! Your enthusiasm tonight.
That's what I have to say about that.
While fake, it's very palpable. So that discussion that you had at your annual review definitely made a difference.
I'm going to get caught into Greg's office with his spikes and be like, hey, that was a good job on Sunday. Nice enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm.
And then I'm going to scream and say it again. I'll be like, that's all you get out of me.
Here's a scratch and sniff sticker, bud. Good job. But here's what I was going to say. If you've got a proposed question for the New Jersey Republican gubernatorial debate, put it in the chat over on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHD. Or you can go ahead and, we used to say tweet. I guess it's X it at me, post it at me.
I think it's post.
Post it at me?
I think it's
post.
See,
tweet, though, it kind of made it a verb. Now, posting it at somebody doesn't quite have the same ring to it.
No, but when you...
what are you doing at me when you're tweeting at me now?
Posting.
You're posting at me?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Talk to Elon. I don't know what to tell you. When you go to make... how like when you made a tweet, it would say there was a little tweet button at the bottom. Now I think it's just post.
Okay.
Unless there's always post. I didn't pay attention that closely, nor do I care. But I think it's post.
So we'll go with post. So post it at me over on X, Matt Rooney NJ. That's my handle.
Or just say mention.
Or mention.
Yeah,
or mention me.
Yeah. There you go.
At Matt Rooney NJ. I will read it if you give me a proposed question. And who knows, when you're watching the Republican debate on Tuesday, you may hear your question get asked, and boy, won't you feel like a special boy or girl if I pluck your question off the wire and ask it of one of the potential future governors of the great state of New Jersey.
I got a question. I don't know if it's in the stack. I'm not from Jersey, but I got a question. It's honestly, it's a question that I will ask anyone at this point.
Ask away.
What are these candidates going to do to help the youth, and what are they going to do to not help, but like what are they going to do to try and win over the youth population and get them to stick with them? Because granted, a lot of
when you say win over the youth population, do you mean what are these Republican candidates going to do to get young people to vote Republican?
Correct, because a lot of Gen Z people are Democrats. That's just a proven fact. What are these Republican candidates going to do to win over the Gen Z youth?
Can I do the most annoying thing of all and answer your question with a question?
I guess. I might answer your question with a question, then with a question, so be prepared.
And then the cycle will never end.
There we go.
It's just the cycle of violence.
Go ahead.
So what do you think Donald Trump did last year to break into that voting demographic? Because he did better with younger voters.
Well, one, I mean, he made
and you are a Gen Z,
right? I mean, he made all those appearances on podcasts, so that got his message out there. Not saying that's what he did, but I think a lot of like the whole tax on tips thing is good for Gen Z because a lot of them are waiters or bartenders or whatnot. So that's a good thing.
Right. No, that's good messaging.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And you're right about the forum mattering. I give it's the one thing I've ever given you credit for.
Yeah.
But you were on to Theo Von before Theo Von was a thing.
That's what I'm saying.
I
discovered here.
I haven't seen you since the inaugural. Theo was at the inaugural.
He fell off a chair.
And he fell off a chair.
Yeah.
How have we not talked about this?
Because I haven't been here.
Because I haven't seen you.
I haven't been here.
Were you with him?
No. He has no idea who I am. Speaking of Theo Von, I also have a Theo Von good old Twit Talk. Of course I do. You probably missed that for the whole month.
Well, last we spoke, we weren't sure whether or not TikTok would survive and whether there would be a Twit Talk segment anymore.
It's still a thing. It's just you can't update it, and it's off the App Store. So I'm trying not to update it
for now.
Most I can. But I also have a collection of them just saved. So if I need to, I can just mass record all of them and just...
So bottom line is we've got a plentiful supply here on the Matt Rooney Show. We're not going to run out anytime soon.
I wouldn't say that, but yeah.
Well, how soon? How long do we got?
It depends on a lot. Let me rephrase that. We'll probably run out soon.
It's not going to be nearly as fun when the show ends with you going through Pinterest.
Dude,
look at this futon.
No, a lot of my TikTok now is just like clips from the news, and I'm like, this isn't what I want. Like, I need good, juicy, like belly laugh stuff. At least to me, you think they're stupid, but that's how I know. If I laugh and Bella laughs, that's how I know it goes on the show.
That's how you know.
That's my characteristic.
Yeah, my mom loves you. She hates this segment.
That's fine. A lot of people do.
Yeah.
The haters are my biggest
and I want to get this out of
motivator.
the way tonight, too, before I forget. Speaking of parents, a very, very happy birthday to my father, the original Mr. Rooney. It's his birthday today.
Are you a junior?
I'm not a junior.
That sucks.
Yeah, no, I'm not a junior. We share a middle name.
Chris.
But no, my middle name is not.
Matthew.
Barack.
Oh.
Matthew Barack Rooney. You
what
didn't know that about me at this point?
I wonder what Obama's last name is then.
Yeah. I will produce my birth certificate.
Barack.
So you can see it
Barack
if you want to.
Obama.
But yeah, Papa Rooney's birthday is Groundhog's Day, and his children, we used to sneak into his room in the morning to see whether or not he would find a shadow. And if he did find a shadow, he would go back to bed. If he didn't, then he would get up and make his pancakes or something like that. So definitely added to the whole sport of the occasion. So a very happy birthday, Dad, if you're listening out there tonight. You probably are because Mom has probably been making you. Say happy birthday to my father, Dan. Don't be rude.
Happy birthday, Mr. Rooney. You raised a mediocre one, and I hope he makes you proud as much as I'm proud of him.
That started out really, really crappy, but then you turned it around.
That's what I do best.
Let's see if we can do the same thing tonight on the program. 855-839-1210. That's our number here in the Matt Rooney Show. And over on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Let's take a break. And when we return, EJ and Tony to break down this whole tariff thing here on 1210 WPHT.
Talk Radio
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. It's time to celebrate American Heart Month with Rescue Natural Supplements. For nearly 40 years, Rescue Omega-3 has been providing people with the essentials to fortify heart health, reduce inflammation, and support healthy cholesterol levels. That's why it's the best time to dive into Rescue's February special. Right now, Rescue's most popular products, their premium omega-3 fish oils, are buy one, get one free exclusively for radio listeners. Just use the listener code OMEGA50 when placing your order. Call today at 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a knowledgeable product consultant or use that code OMEGA50 online when you visit res-q.com. That's res-q.com. Don't forget the code OMEGA50 when buying a one bottle of Rescue Omega-3s. Get a second bottle free. OMEGA50. Fortify your heart. Support a healthier well-being with a Rescue Omega-3.
Now Taxes is using Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get your refund so you can do more with it right in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
At PGW, safety is essential to delivering clean, reliable natural gas to Philadelphia homes and businesses. If you smell gas, call PGW at 215-235-1212.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Keeping free speech alive. Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210. WPHT. WPHT.
Americans have to understand how hurt and frankly how furious Canadians are. Our sovereignty is being challenged, and so yeah, regular Canadians across the country are coming up with ways to stand for Canada, to fight for Canada, to defend Canada, but mostly to say to our American neighbors, guys, just cut it out, just stop it, this is a terrible idea. And yes, we are going to use all the tools in our toolbox. You mentioned a little bit earlier how the United States depends on China, critical minerals and metals that you need for semiconductors, that you need to build electric vehicles. Well, guess who also produces those? Canada. You depend on us for a lot, and we are happy to work together, but it's got to be a two-way street.
Oh, man, that is Canadian PM candidate Christie Freeland, who sounds more like a dime counter marriage counselor in that particular clip, arguing that her friends at the southern end of their border, the northern end of ours, should give up on the tariffs that President Trump has now imposed on that country. Oi! Matt Rooney here on the Matt Rooney Show, folks. Let's bring on our guest, our first guest of the evening, who's someone that we regularly turn to make sense of all things in the economic sphere. He is a research fellow at the Heritage Foundation's Grover M. Herman Center for the Federal Budget, where he focuses on fiscal and monetary policy. His work's been featured all over the place. Daily Caller, Fox News, Fox Business, The Wall Street Journal, but most importantly, here at 1210 WPHT, and we always appreciate his insight. Without further ado, the great EJ Antoni. EJ, welcome back to the Matt Rooney Show, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me again. I tell you what, this introduction gets better and better every time I come on. I love it.
Don't get used to it. He's not. He just likes to hype our guests up.
Dan, why do you have to be such a joy kill?
Some are better than others.
Did we not start out the program tonight by saying that you had a talking to by management about your enthusiasm level? Now try that again.
Sorry.
Yes! EJ, there you go. Yes! There we go. Much better. We want people to come here and have fun being here. All right. Sorry about that. On to something more serious, EJ. And by the way, you do deserve the accolades. We love what you do here and elsewhere. You may have just heard our intro for this segment with one of the prime minister candidates from our neighbor to the north. Very upset with us, as upset as a Canadian can be. Their criticism is always a little bit muted. It's just the culture. Is this apocalypse now? Are President Trump's tariffs going to bring North America's economy crashing down, or do you see something else in the future?
Well, it's certainly not going to bring the United States economy crashing down, that's for sure. Is it going to inflict a heck of a lot of pain on Canada? Yeah, I think that's fair. But I'm sorry, Miss Prime Minister candidate, whoever the heck she is. But no, we're not going to cut it out, as it were. Look, we're going to keep going because we have a significant deficit with Canada, and that cannot continue forever. And frankly, I am sick and tired of so many of these, people who barely got through Econ 101 and now call themselves economists, although actually there's plenty of PhDs who make this fallacy too, where they think that the trade deficit somehow doesn't matter, as if it can go on forever. And they make these ridiculous comparisons by saying things like, well, I have a trade deficit with Walmart and I'm doing just fine. Okay, sure, you have a trade deficit with Walmart. You have a trade deficit with the local grocery store, whether that's in Acme or whatever, but you don't have a trade deficit with everything and everyone. If you did, you'd be going bankrupt. Instead, you have an employer that pays you more than you pay them. And so what ends up happening is you essentially can't have a trade deficit everywhere with everyone. The only way you can is if you're constantly selling off assets, or if you're constantly going into debt, or maybe you're counterfeiting. That's basically what the United States has been doing. We've had the Federal Reserve printing money to pay for our massive trade deficit. In part, obviously, it's to go to other things too. But we can't get around the fact that the trade deficit has been a source of inflation and will continue to be so.
I've always considered myself a free market guy for as long as I've been politically conscious. I think I still am, EJ, but you've illustrated for us right now very well, as you always do, the ways in which, in this particular arena, the free trade policy of the United States have not helped the United States. In fact, it's been a leading cause of inflation here at home, a problem that for a variety of other reasons has become quite acute in recent years. Let me ask you this as an economist, for your personal opinion. Is there such a thing as a right or a wrong way to impose tariffs?
Oh, sure, absolutely, and we've seen this in the historical record, right? William McKinley, who President Trump has been talking a lot about recently, and that's a good thing because McKinley was a great president.
You're killing me with the aboots. What are you talking about?
I think it's really good that he's using McKinley as an example of how to conduct tariffs. How to impose them, because McKinley did it so well. They were done scientifically. Conversely, when Herbert Hoover implemented tariffs with the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act, he signed that bill into law. That was almost like a shotgun approach. It was terrible. It was almost random, and it encouraged a lot of basically it encouraged a lot of retribution from trading partners abroad, trading partners with whom the United States did not have a lot of leverage at the time. Now, you fast forward to today, and it's exactly the opposite situation. We have all of the leverage when it comes to Canada. We have all of the leverage when it comes to Mexico. Look at the percentage of our exports that go to those countries. and then look at the percentage of their exports that come here, and the ratio is something like 10 to 1. Maybe we send 9% of our exports to Canada, but then about 90% come here. I mean, the ratio is literally almost 10 to 1. So we have all the leverage, because if trade grinds to a halt between the two countries, frankly, all of the stuff we get from Canada, we could make here. There's most of the stuff that Canada gets from us, they could also make there. But the killer is that it would be a much bigger shock to their economy, and it would basically be like a speed bump under tread here. The other thing to keep in mind, since you mentioned, the United States free trade policy not serving Americans, we have to remember that it's also a matter of other countries' non-free trade policies not serving Americans. These tariffs that we're putting on Canada right now are pretty comparable to a lot of the tariffs that Canada has on all kinds of Mexican all kinds of American products, whether that's dairy, whether that's automotive parts, you name it. There are all kinds of things where Canada taxes the United States, and that is part of the reason why there's such an imbalance of trade. So fine, you want to go toe-to-toe? We'll go right ahead and have that fight. I am more than willing to do that, because I know America's going to win.
It's a very good point. Many countries that love to talk about the free market in the international sphere don't have a free market at home when they set their own policies. A lot of hypocrisy there. You also hit on something very important, EJ, because we know that the media does a very poor job at almost anything in 2025, the legacy media, that is. And it's a particularly acute problem in the realm of economics. The only thing you would know about these tariffs, if you watched ABC, NBC, whoever else over the weekend, it's the raw number, right? 25% here, 25% there, and that it's a terrible idea because it's Trump's idea. My question for you is, he's now imposed the tariffs. They're squealing and they're complaining to the north and to the south. What is the end game here? What is it that we hope to gain specifically in terms of a change in policy other than just fair trade generally?
Well, a better deal for the American people. That's what we're really all about.
Right. Like, what does that look like with Canada, for instance?
Oh, sure. Well, I think what it looks like in terms of Canada is making more stuff here in the United States and employing more Americans. Look, there's basically two ways that this plays out. Let's say Canada folds, right? Well, let's say, okay, we just can't compete with America. It's not worth the fight. It's going to hurt our economy way too much. We're going to get rid of all of our tariffs so that America gets rid of her tariffs. All right, if that happens, now all of a sudden, things like our dairy farmers are going to be able to sell much, much more of their product to Canada. We're even going to see the lumber industry boom. You're going to see the automotive industry boom as well. So those industries will employ more workers here in America, and we'll make more money selling more of our products abroad. That's option one. Option two is Canada says, no, we're just going to essentially stick our head in the sand and say, the heck with it. We're going to keep going with these tariffs, and it doesn't matter if America imposes her own tariffs. We're going to be just fine. Well, no, they won't. In fact, it'll be too expensive for them to sell stuff here, and instead American producers will pick up the slack. It'll be cheaper to make things here, especially once you consider all of the deregulatory efforts that are going on right now. People forget that the Biden administration imposed a huge cost of living increase of almost $50,000 for the average American family on an annual basis because of the regulatory regime that they put in place, essentially. All kinds of things are becoming more expensive year after year because of what Biden put in place. By undoing that, you're going to make it cheaper not just to live, but cheaper to make things here in the United States. So there's a carrot and a stick approach. We're going to make it more expensive for you to make things abroad, and we're going to make it cheaper for you to make things here. So as you essentially re-onshore that production, you are once again going to make more stuff here. You're going to employ more Americans, and the nation will become richer as a result.
It's worth remembering, too, that Canada has federal elections coming up in 2025. I think October is the latest that they can hold them. So do you want to be in a trade war when you have an upcoming election? That's another piece of the calculus that Canadian leaders have to engage as they try to push back against the Trumpster. EJ Antoni, everyone. He's one of the good ones out of the Heritage Foundation, one of our favorite economists here at 1210 WPHT. As always, sir, we appreciate you making time for us and making sense of it all.
All right, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
We will be back in just a moment on the Matt Rooney Show. Don't go anywhere.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT. Dom Giordano.
Congressman Jeff Van Drew. Can you throw a football 40 yards out?
40 yards, I'm not so sure. Can you?
Yeah, of course.
Well, yeah, that's one of the claims that he always makes is a 40-yard football throw.
Dan, have you seen him throw it 40 yards?
No.
We did have a contest. It was close.
We'll make it to Mulligan's, make it to the beach, and see him throw it 40 yards on the beach. We'll measure it out.
It's Dom time. Dom Giordano. Weekdays noon till 3 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Don't miss the Labor and Energy Show with J-Doc and Krause. Brought to you by the Labor and Energy Alliance this Saturday night at 6. Find out about the important issues that will affect you. The Labor and Energy Show, Saturday night at 6 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
Is anyone in Canada a good negotiator? I don't think they've got a single one. Before the break, before we brought in EJ and Tony here on the Matt Rooney Show to explain what you need to know about this trade war, if you want to call it that, although maybe that's not the right thing to call it. We've got something on that in a second. But we played one of the prime minister candidates who offered a fairly, well, why do I have to be nice about it? Pathetic argument for why the United States should back down from the 25% tariffs that President Trump is imposing on the true North. Not so strong, not that free, at least under Trudeau. But Trudeau himself, who I guess he's still leaving office, he resigned and then decided to continue to hang around from the party that he ruined. He is also calling on Canadians to resist the United States and its imperial tariffs. And, well, I don't know. You tell me, if you heard this and you were a Canadian, would you find this argument persuasive? Roll that tape.
What, am I supposed to play cut here?
Yeah, this is 9.
Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, okay.
And now is also the time to choose Canada. There are many ways for you to do your part. It might mean checking the labels at the supermarket and picking Canadian-made products. It might mean opting for Canadian rye over Kentucky bourbon, or foregoing Florida orange juice altogether. It might mean changing your summer vacation plans to stay here in Canada and explore the many national and provincial parks, historical sites, and tourist destinations our great country has to offer.
Their plan, are you ready for this? Their plan in Canada is to stop drinking orange juice. You got us, Canada.
That means no more Canadian bacon or Canadian maple syrup.
Well, it plays beautifully into our plans, right? Because once Canada as a whole develops a crippling vitamin C deficiency, their immune systems will crash, and there'll be no way for them to resist our invasion.
Well, I actually saw something today before I got here, is that Canadian companies are already debating on coming to the U.S.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
Which literally that's the whole point of why Trump is doing these tariffs, is to make the companies come to the U.S. to avoid the tariffs and make everything U.S. made. That's literally the whole point of what he's trying to do.
I think you nailed it. I think Trump, for the reason you just stated, Daniel, and everything that EJ and Tony splayed on the record here on the program, Trump views this as a win-win proposition for the United States.
And I think people also fail to realize, I don't know if it's fail, I don't know if it's, or whatever, they choose to ignore it. We've always had tariffs in this country.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't something new where it's like, hey, we're just going to start doing this. Like, this tariffs have been around since the country started.
Oh, that's right.
He's just increasing it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And the only vacation that we've had from tariffs on a relative consistent basis has been, in the 80s and the 90s and into the 2000s, the era of free trade and NAFTA, that infamous agreement of the Clinton administration, the North American Free Trade Agreement, which, in retrospect, weakened American manufacturing to the point of collapse and has had many negative impacts for our economy. I mean, the obvious ones, right, that we eliminated an entire socioeconomic class in the middle of the ladder, right? Michigan and Western Pennsylvania and Ohio would look a lot different today were it not for NAFTA and some of these other terrible trade deals. But look, something I like to remind everyone of as we sit here tonight and there's still a war going on in Ukraine and China and North Korea and our enemies are saber rattling. Is it good to not have a manufacturing base, to have a country of middle managers and people with liberal arts degrees and women's studies and Eastern handpan music, and all of your bullets and steel are manufactured by countries that are at best unreliable allies, and at worst, they hate you and want to supplant you with the world order? That's not a sustainable model.
I also saw TikTok, so they're like, I just went to the grocery store in Canada and I bought all Canadian. I tried to avoid buying U.S. And I'm like, why do I care what you do in Canada? I don't. I don't go out of my way to look for Canadian-made products.
No.
I just go and I buy it. I don't know.
Have you ever had Canadian rye? I guess I have at some point.
No.
I'm looking it up right now to see what a popular brand of Canadian whiskey is.
Yeah.
And I'm not recognizing any of this. So it's swill. I mean, it gets really cold up there. And the further the temperatures drop, the less quality matters, so long as it keeps you warm, I guess, right? Any port in a storm.
Canadian whiskey is just maple syrup with water.
And a little bit of vodka.
Uh-huh.
A little bit of vodka mixed in there that probably Trudeau's dad brought back from Cuba.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. The whole Castro thing.
Yep.
I'm channeling Mr. Zioli there. That's one of his favorites.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were playing a little bit of the Canadian anthem before.
I was.
And I have to say this, even though we're all hating on Canada at the moment, one of the better anthems.
You've never heard of Canadian Club?
Oh, Canadian Club. No, I've heard of Canadian Club.
It's literally the name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not. My point is, Canadian rye is not something that any country is going to miss.
People are going to miss Crown Royal, though.
I guess.
That's Canadian, apparently.
Look, I'm going to tell you something right now at the risk of being a little judgmental. Any liquor brand that has a sour apple flavor,
it's delightful.
No, incorrect. See, why did I know you were going to say that?
I don't know. I've never had it, so I just did it just to peeve you off. But
if President Trump is listening right now, add Dan into the deal. We will give them Dan.
I don't want to go to Canada.
I'm sorry. Well, you're too small. You'll freeze instantly.
Correct.
You will be a Dan sickle.
Correct. I don't want to go to Canada. I feel like I'm too mean for Canada. I feel like everyone up there is really nice. I'm not.
Well, maybe that's what we need.
So
maybe we need to channel your inner Canadian. You probably are more Canadian than Hispanic.
Where am I going to go? Domesticate Canadians?
I don't know. I'm just grasping at straws here, bud.
Whatever
I can do. Let's check out what's going on over on YouTube. YouTube.com/@1210WPHD. So since our show has a large South Jersey audience, a lot of people are noting correctly that there are many Quebec residents that make it down to the Jersey Shore in the summer, especially to Wildwood. So I don't know. Do we need to have an embargo on people from Quebec coming down?
There are a lot of people.
Jersey Shore?
There are a lot of people. Yeah, he literally their prime minister was like, hey, don't vacation in the U.S.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, let's Let's get all the Quebecians out.
All those famous Canadian beaches up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have the Niagara Falls.
Good on Chris for making the Justin Castro joke. Bella's in the chat.
Yeah.
She says, I don't know. I didn't see anything wrong either with what he said. Sad that the only takeaway is, oh, no, he doesn't want our orange juice. Is Bella disagreeing with my criticism of Justin Trudeau?
Yes.
Okay. She likes Trudeau?
I don't know.
Bella, do you like Justin Trudeau? Bella, for those of you new to the program, that's Dan's girlfriend.
Boothang.
Your Boothang?
It's the Boothang.
The Boothang.
It's the Boothang.
Lil Boothang?
And I haven't seen her all month, so yes.
You haven't seen her all month?
I saw her maybe 4 days.
From what you can remember.
I've seen her maybe 4 days, and that was about it.
Yeah. Suze loves Jeffy. Hey, Suze says the Canadians seem to like Bud Light, too. Well, that explains quite a bit, doesn't it?
Bud Light's making a comeback, dude.
Is it?
Yeah, and they now have Shane Gillis and Post Malone as, like, their face. Like, they're going back to, like, their old roots before the whole not scandal, but the whole Dylan Mulvaney thing.
Well, doesn't that tell you everything, right? Going from Dylan Mulvaney to Shane Gillis, they're embracing the culture.
Which I'm all for. If companies want to go and make things right, I'm all about it. And I think that's what Bud Light's doing. They're trying to make things right. It took them a while to get there, but they're doing it. They're back to their demographic.
Yeah.
Which is good for them.
That's the market at work, right?
Yeah.
They were punished because they got too far out to the left, the wacky fringe, and they learned their lesson, a particularly hard lesson. Bella has weighed back in. She says, I'm impartial. I just think there are bigger things to worry about.
I could agree.
You better agree. You haven't seen your girlfriend in a month.
No, even if I haven't seen her, I could agree to that. I think there's bigger things that we need to worry about other than people worrying about tariffs and all this kind of stuff.
Thank you also for everyone saying happy birthday to my dad, Chris, Suze, Spike, Sybil, all saying happy birthday to Mr. Rooney, the original Mr. Rooney, who I will credit along with my mom for turning me on to conservative radio. My earliest memories of politics are listening to El Rushbo, the late great El Rushbo, when he was still on this station. And I will tell you, whenever I've gotten to fill in for Dom Giordano, I mean, it's a trip to fill in for Dom because Dom's a legend in his own right. But being on 12 to 3 in Philly in that old Rush slot, there's something magic about it. There really is. So thank you, everyone, for the Rooney family love. Oh, that's all great. And then Chris has some hate for Phil Murphy. There is a New Jersey Democrat gubernatorial debate going on right now as we speak. I will be co-hosting the Republican debate, which is coming up on Tuesday night. I've been monitoring what's happening at the Dem debate while I've been on the air. Our friend Tony Perry, who's the mayor of Middletown, that's actually Phil Murphy's hometown, he's been on this program before, says the Democrat debate for NJ.gov, so far there's been a lot of talk out of the gate about affordability. An interesting approach, Tony says, for a party that has controlled both the legislature and governor's office for the past 8 years, during which the only real accomplishment seems to be out of control spending and rising costs for New Jersey families. Am I missing something? No, you're not missing something, Tony. That's one of the remarkable things about the ads I've seen thus far from the New Jersey Democrats that are running this year. You know, you would think that they haven't been in charge for a generation uninterrupted in Trenton. Interrupted, however, briefly by Fatty McThunderbiscuits, a.k.a. Chris Christie, who, of course, we know very quickly turned traitor. So wasn't able to accomplish the original promise that so many saw. So we will have a more in-depth recap in the near future about that Democrat debate, again, going on at Rider University right now as we speak. And then make sure that you check out the Republican debate. We're going to stream it online over at my website, savejersey.com, on Tuesday. But tonight, Dan Cerrucci from dancerrucci.com will join us in the third hour to help preview that debate. Dan is going to go, and he's going to cover it for my website, Save Jersey, as well as his own. And you can be sure that Dan's coverage will be pithy and lively and colorful and lots of fun, as well as getting to the truth about whatever we hear on the stage that night. I've spent a good portion of the weekend writing my questions. Writing debate questions is a very interesting thought process, because I think when you are putting them together, and obviously I can't tell you what I'm going to ask, right? That'd be an ethical breach. Who do you think I work for, CNN or ABC? Not going to do it. But I will say that when you're working on debate questions, I think it's important to not only think about what you want to ask, but here's the key thing. This is a Republican primary debate, so I'm constantly thinking, what is it that an undecided New Jersey Republican voter wants to learn?
So what
do they want to know?
What are those questions?
I can't tell you. I can't tell you, bro.
Try to get you a gotcha moment.
You tried to get a gotcha moment?
Yeah.
You're supposed to get gotcha moments on like our guests and the people that call in and stuff like that, not the host. You're not supposed to entrap the host, Daniel.
That's not how I work.
Oh, well, we know that's how you work.
That's not how I work.
Do you work? How do you work?
With multiple hands.
With multiple hands?
Yeah.
It's kind of creepy, actually.
Don't ask questions. Don't want to know the answers.
Yeah. You know, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, too, there's so much going on tonight. It's actually insane that there's so much happening in our country and in our region right now that the plane crash in northeastern Philadelphia almost feels like it was a month ago.
Dude, there's been like 4 of them since then.
The whole thing is just crazy.
Like every time I go on like TikTok or Twitter or anything like that, there's just a new plane crash. I'm like, what?
Where was there a new one today?
There's been multiple. There was one in Chicago. There was one in the Philly that we talked about. There was a helicopter that fell out of the sky. They're all like private owned, so not like huge.
Oh, I see this. A plane and a tug vehicle collided in Chicago.
Yeah, so there's that one, and then there's been a couple more that I'm not entirely sure that, but I'm just like, where are all these damn planes and what is going on?
Yeah, which we'll talk a little bit more about it in the next hour because, surprise, surprise, it's 2024. Everyone has an opinion. Actually, I said it's 2024. It's 2025. Yeah.
I remember my first day.
Yeah.
It is my first day, actually.
It is your first day.
I texted Frank.
What are you talking about?
I texted Frank something that I was like, "Yeah, let's do this," and he's like, "Okay." And
I forgot what you look like.
And then I realized that it was already done. So I'm like, "Oh, it's my first day."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, the footage is incredible from this northeastern plane crash. This medical transport that didn't fall out of the sky. That's how it was initially described by some media reports. It hit the ground like a missile.
Yeah, it was like deliberately flown into the ground.
Yeah, I mean, look, at this point, I don't think we know anything.
It was a Mexican plane. Does that make any difference?
A Mexican plane?
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, are Mexican planes more prone to dive towards the ground?
I don't know. I saw people online saying conspiracy theories like, oh, it's a plane from Mexico. It was made in Mexico. This, that. They're like, what's going on? I'm like...
Well, look, I understand the conspiracy theories for 2 reasons. One, because we've been lied to so much, constantly, over the course of the past 4+ years by the former Biden administration and all of their complicit actors in the media and elsewhere. I mean, you almost have to assume that you're being manipulated on a day-to-day basis, especially when something dramatic or scary happens. So I get that. Also, again, if you watch the footage, this thing did not miss the runway, right? This thing did not just fall out of the sky. Oftentimes when these planes have mechanical failure, the engine's cut out and they kind of coast down, right, for obvious reasons of physics. This thing looked like a missile. If you didn't know it was a plane, you would have thought that one of our adversaries had launched something out of a submarine.
It wasn't even near the airport, was it? I don't think it was anywhere close. It might have been close.
Well, there's a small airport up in the Northeast.
Oh, so that's probably where it's going to.
Yeah, not Philadelphia International. Yeah.
See, when I think of plane, I just automatically think of Philly International. But
well, that's entirely reasonable.
Yeah, it's not though.
That's entirely reasonable. Yeah. But it's crazy.
There's also
and my favorite quote. Go ahead.
There's also a United Airlines flight that I had to do an emergency landing because like the engine was blowing up or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if that was this past weekend or what, but I saw that before I got in too. So that was weird.
My favorite line coming out of the northeastern plane crash aftermath is Sergeant Mark Facchetti over on X. He's a pretty frequent tweeter when it comes to Philadelphia crime news. And he said, in response to all the conspiracy theories, specifically those that, hey, this was actually a missile, not a plane, he said, bombing Cotman Ave in Northeast Philly is the last bleep place they would hit. probably not untrue. When you're thinking of all the targets that a foreign adversary would develop, right? Is North Korea going to look at the map and say, we know where how we're going to teach these Americans a lesson? We're going to take out Cotman Ave in Philadelphia.
No, but I think Philadelphia would be a target in general.
Right, but you're not aiming for Cotman Ave.
Well, correct. You're not aiming for Cotman Ave to be specific, right? You're aiming probably for like Center City or something like that.
Presumably.
Yeah.
Presumably, yes. 855-839-1210. That's our number. Again, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. I am Matt Rooney. This is the Matt Rooney Show. 1 hour down, but fear not, 2 more left to go here on 1210 WPHT.
Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Dawn Stensland here. My friends at Piazza Premium Automobiles feature the latest luxury vehicles from today's top brands. Mercedes-Benz, Jaguar, Land Rover, BMW, Porsche, Alfa Romeo, Maserati, and more. Sleek new designs and innovative features with thousands of new and certified pre-owned vehicles available across Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey. Piazza Premium Automobiles stands out. Visit PiazzaPremiumAutos.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
Officials identified the 6 passengers that died in the jet crash in Northeast Philly Friday night, including the 11-year-old patient and her mother. Mayor Sherelle Parker updates the injury toll to 22. All told, 7 people are dead. And officials are still searching for the black box, hoping it'll shed some light on the crash.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Hi, I'm Judith Light. So there you are. It's flu season, and you're over 65 like me. You're having another busy year. So much to do, so many roles in life to play. But you feel like you might be forgetting something serious. Your annual flu shot. And before you know it, it's too late. It's not just the aches, fever, and chills that last for days and days. The flu can be life-threatening, especially if you have chronic conditions like diabetes and heart disease, which can worsen with the flu. Being active and healthy alone won't protect you. The immune system weakens with age, making you more susceptible to the flu. If you're over 65, ask about your vaccine options, including one made specifically for us. An annual flu shot is the best way to help keep the flu away. Visit the National Council on Aging at ncoa.org/flu to learn more and talk to your doctor or pharmacist about vaccine options for people 65 and older. Again, that's ncoa.org/flu.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios, powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121.
WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios, powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Matt Rooney on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Welcome back, old friends, new frenemies, and all who lie elsewhere in between on the spectrum that is life. I am Matt Rooney. This is the Matt Rooney Show. There are counterfeits out there. Do not be fooled. There's only one genuine article. and it is this program. Produced, of course, with the stylings of Dan Valdez, who has graced us with his presence this evening in our studio here on the chilly Schuylkill River. Welcome back, Danielle.
Hi.
Oh, that was mousy.
I'm focused on something.
You focused on something? Probably not your job, but I won't even.
I'm actually doing my job.
You are doing your job?
Yeah, I got to look at the lineup for what's coming up and spots and all that kind of BS. So yes, it is my job.
All the nonsense that we play that gets us paid. Oh, God. Well, 855-839-1210. That's our number here at the program if you want to call in. We're stingy with calls, but we give you the option to take your best shot. But invariably, we get to the end of the program and I leave people hanging. I'm sorry. That's how we do, as the kids say. Our preferred way to interact with you is over on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT, where the conversation is always lively in the chat as people watch myself and Dan do the program, and it is a full house tonight. Hello, everyone in the chat. Happy to see you. Let's see. Tony's there. Tony, I think, was taking issue with me characterizing the plane crash in Northeast Philly as looking like a missile strike. He says, unless you've ever seen a missile strike. I've never, thankfully, been near a missile strike, but maybe Tony has. It's what it looked like to me. That medical transport that went crashing into a neighborhood in the Northeast over the weekend. Horrific video. And you heard it during the news break. I believe we have some audio. We have an updated number on how many have been hurt from the crash. We found out relatively quickly there were 6 people on the plane, and obviously they did not survive, including an 11-year-old child that was receiving medical treatment, right? I mean, some people have all the luck, just horrendous. You have to come up here for some serious disease to Philadelphia to receive treatment, and then you're on your way home, and then that happens, and that's the way your story ends. It's just, it makes you just want to cry, doesn't it? But the question mark that's been hanging over this event from the beginning is, well, it's as if a bomb or a missile went off in that heavily populated, dense part of our region. So was anybody else hurt? Was anybody else injured? We still don't know the scope of it, which is quite remarkable when you think about it. Here's the mayor herself giving us an update just a couple hours ago on the current total. Cut numero uno.
Who were injured and they are being treated. We talked about it nearby hospitals, but that
you have numero uno, Daniel?
This is numero. Is it not playing?
No, it's not playing.
Are you sure?
I don't hear it. Here it is.
In critical condition. We have not, out of respect for their families,
although I can't hear,
loved ones, shared the names of any of those
through the.
Oh well.
Been impacted.
Maybe they can hear it over on the YouTube, but we can't hear it here in the studio. Well, anybody who knows Mayor Parker knows they're not listening.
It went over.
Missing too much. Did it go over?
It was just really, really quiet.
Really?
It went over though. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough.
You just suck.
Well, that's also probably true. But for those of you who couldn't hear like me, there are 22 people who were reportedly injured. 5 of the 22 were still in hospitals. 3 of the 5 in critical condition. That's as of Sunday afternoon. But here's the truly remarkable part to me. We also heard from Philadelphia Managing Director Adam Thiel, who was asked, hey, are there any people still missing and unaccounted for from this Friday night crash? Bottom line, we don't know. Cut number 2.
Say it is possible there are still people who were affected by this event, affected by that crash that we don't know about. So as we said yesterday and the day before, if there's somebody who you think might have been in this area and they're missing and they haven't checked in and you can't reach them or they live there, call 911. Don't be afraid to do that. And we have people who know how to handle, again, we handle these cases all the time. And that's part of the uncertainty that we're going to continue to have for days, potentially weeks, about who might have been in that area that we don't know about, who might have been affected by this tragedy.
How terrifying is that? That there's someone out there right now who may be waiting to hear from someone, or it's not someone in their family they check in with on a regular basis, who may have been blown to smithereens by this plane crash, and we still don't know. Also,
it's like
as
the
you
Titan
will,
submersible, but with planes.
What's that?
It's like the Titan submersible, but with planes.
Right. No, that's exactly right.
Or is that? Can I say that? Is that okay to say? Is that okay?
Well, what wouldn't be okay about it? It's
I don't know.
It's an analogy.
I don't know. I don't want people to be like, oh my gosh, you just compared, the Ocean Gate, whatever the hell it was called, the Titan, to all these plane crashes. I'm like, well.
No, of all the offensive things you said on this show and are likely to continue to say, I don't think that was the worst of it.
All right. I got your approval. That's all I need.
Yeah. Yeah, by any stretch of the imagination.
Good.
Or, I was going to say, we know how many homeless people there are in the city of not-so-brotherly love.
Just go to Kensington.
Yeah, so we may never know.
Yeah.
We may never know some of the people that were killed.
It made a good dent in the street, too.
It looked like a war zone.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was. Their road was just beat up, man. I saw it and I was like, that does not look like a plane.
No, it was horrendous. It didn't look like a plane. I'm not saying it wasn't. Everybody relax.
It wasn't. It was a UFO.
But it was.
It was a UFO.
Look, would anything surprise you, right? In 2025, nothing is really surprising anymore, because we're constantly being lied to by our leaders, day in, day out, 365, right? And I wish that I didn't have to be so cynical, but how can you not be cynical? How can you not be cynical? Because it's what's happened to us every single day for the past 4 years. And I don't see Democrats learning their lesson. I mean, thankfully, we have a president now who is dedicated to being transparent and making sure that the American people have access to the information that we're entitled to. But goodness gracious, folks. Goodness gracious. I can't blame anyone for being cynical and being a little bit of a conspiracy theorist light in this current environment. Again, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. We got a full hour ahead of us here on the program. And then in our third and final hour, we'll be joined by Dan Cerrucci of dancerrucci.com to preview the upcoming Republican gubernatorial debate, which is scheduled for Tuesday at Rider University. Yours truly, one of the co-hosts, one of the panelists that's going to be asking the questions of Jack Ciattarelli, Bill Spadea, Ed the Trucker Durr, and State Senator John Bramnick. So you're not going to want to miss that. The Democrat debate's going on right now, so I've been keeping tabs on that. Also up at Rider University, David Wildstein is producing that one. Our friend Assemblywoman Dawn Fantasia, who's been on the program before, she just tweeted out over on X, 6 Democrat candidates for governor agree to codify in the New Jersey Constitution the most radical abortion laws in the country. The specific policy that they're referring to is that it should be free for all. All abortions are free up until the moment of birth. No parental notification for minors. May be performed by unlicensed professionals. And if an unborn baby is killed during the commission of a crime against the mother, I'm going to say that one more time for those of you sitting in the back, in the bleachers. If an unborn baby is killed during the commission of a crime against the mom, it should not be a homicide charge or result in a homicide charge, because Democrats do not recognize the personhood of an unborn child. Now, just digest all that for a second. There was a poll, and Dawn points it out, and you can follow Dawn over at DawnFantasia_NJ. There was a Marist poll of New Jersey voters. 73% of New Jerseyans don't agree with abortion at all stages of pregnancy. There's strong opposition, even in a traditionally blue state like New Jersey, to late-term abortions. And as a father who has 2 kids and has been in that room for the anatomy scan and seen the baby on the screen, my one kid was sucking its thumb. The other, because we're New Jerseyans, looked like they were fist pumping. At that stage, how you can be okay with killing that child, it's something I can't understand. Even though I don't think it's a good thing and I don't approve of abortion, I understand in the earlier stages the argument that is advanced, right? When it still looks like a tadpole, I get it. But where I start to become, well, what's the right way to put this? Because I don't want to be uncharitable. Where I start to lose touch with your logic is for people that argue at 20 weeks, 30 weeks, up until the point of birth, that it's just a lump of cells, that it's not a person, that it doesn't feel pain, that there's not a divine spark. I just don't get it. But, you know, Democrats in New Jersey are on the verge of making the same mistake this year the Democrats nationally made in 2024. Yes, whether you like it or not, and I'm pro-life, I don't love it, Americans generally don't want to outlaw all abortions. But, and this is critical here, right? Abortion is still something that Americans think should be regulated. A strong majority of Americans feel that way. They don't think a 16-year-old should just be able to go get an abortion at any stage and have it paid for by the state, not have the parent have any right to know what's going on. They don't think at 38 weeks you should have an elective abortion. But this is what, as you just heard Dawn Fantasia say on X, I just shared it with you, this is what the Democrat field apparently believes without exception. Now, in 2024, Democrats settled on Kamala Harris as their replacement for the ailing, mentally and physically, Joe Biden. And in so doing, they picked the most radical possible standard bearer for Democrats in a national presidential election ever. There's never been a nominee further to the left than Kamala Harris, as President Trump was fond of saying. Democrats in New Jersey, who almost saw Donald Trump flip their state in 2024, right? Trump only lost New Jersey by about 5.5 points, 5.9 actually, which is the closest margin in the Garden State, my home state, since, believe it or not, 1992, when Bill Clinton narrowly defeated George H.W. Bush. Yeah, Dan was not even alive. He was just a sparkle in the recesses of his parents' eyes.
Wasn't even thought of at that point.
Wasn't even thought of.
They
still don't like to think of him, if we're being honest about it.
I was swimming around.
Oh, okay. We don't need a visual.
I'm in a pool. What?
Well, how would you be swimming around in a pool?
Don't worry about it. I was picked from a vending machine. Shut up.
You were picked from a vending machine.
Shut up. Don't worry about it.
Very.
My mom said I was picked from a vending machine. That's what I'm gonna go with.
You know what Dan is?
But that vending machine wasn't built yet.
He's like that thing in the vending machine that produces like egg sandwiches. It's like all the way in the back that you're like, you know what? That's been in there too long.
No, I'm the
the
Dippin' Dots machine. Get with it.
The Dippin' Dots machine?
Yes. Get with it.
Yeah, where you kind of look at it and you think, oh, that's kind of neat because of the novelty, but no one would ever actually
get
one.
Yeah, it was either that or my mom told me two things, and I don't really know which one it is. It was either I was a how do you say it, from a pumpkin patch, or from a vending machine. She's told me both of them, and I don't really know which one's true. I still haven't figured it out, but she did tell me about Santa, so that's pretty cool.
The things we learned here on this program.
I learned that last week.
It's just so heartening. But as we watch this Democrat debate, or we monitor it here on the Matt Rooney Show, I mean, that's the takeaway. The takeaway is not that Dan was snatched out of a vending machine, though that may be true. That's how his species reproduces, right? Mm-hmm. The Democrat debate is evidence that New Jersey Democrats haven't learned a damn thing from 2024. Now, on the one hand, I'm grateful for that because I want to see them lose. And I think that makes them easier picking.
Just like how I want to see the Eagles lose, but that's besides the point. Anyway. Nope, we don't got to get in it. We don't want. Nope, continue your thought. It was just a thought in my mind. It was just a thought in my
you
mind.
out here.
Go along with yours. We're not doing sports. Just giving you my opinion.
Oh, we got a lot of grief for doing sports.
That's why I'm not doing it. So continue.
Do not do sports.
I'm giving
WIP's right down the hallway, bro.
Correct. And they would probably tell me to get out because of what I said.
They would absolutely bully you and run your underwear up a flagpole.
You continue to do your own thing, and I will do mine. Got it? Awesome.
Yes.
Let's continue.
Yes. Well, you heard the point. The Democrats in New Jersey, just like you have a hard time learning, they have learned absolutely nothing. And I should be happy about that because I want to see them lose. But it's still scary because there's a decent chance that a Democrat could be elected governor in 2025. And that's again, all you need to do is watch the replay of what's happening right now at Upper Rider University and for all the proof you need as to why that's something that no one should ever want. If you live in New Jersey, pay taxes in New Jersey, want to raise children in New Jersey, maybe you just drive through New Jersey or spend a weekend there every year at the Jersey Shore. We'll keep you updated as the night goes on as to what's happening on the Democrat side of the aisle. And make sure you mark your calendar. Big red Sharpie. February 4th, Matt Rooney, Save Jersey, co-host of the Republican debate at Ryder. You can watch it at savejersey.com. But for now, we're capitalists around here. Let's play some ads, make some money, and we'll be back with more of Hour 2 of our program in just a moment.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Pastor Brad Lacey here, First Baptist Church, Conshohocken. Join us Saturdays for the great message and be blessed. 5 a.m. right here on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we give our students credit where credit is due. Credit for deciding in the middle of rush hour traffic to go back and get their bachelor's and a promotion. Credit for managing 3 kids, 2 dogs, and a full-time job to pursue an MBA. And credit for serving in the military by day so they can study cybersecurity at night. For over 75 years, we've been helping students receive the credit they deserve. With more than 135 degrees and certificates, students at UMGC can use prior learning or relevant experience to earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's, and graduate students can transfer up to 12 credits toward their master's. At UMGC, you'll find everything, online to hybrid courses, lifetime career services to scholarship opportunities, making your education journey flexible, fast, and affordable. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start February 12th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Local news can come at you fast. Want the latest on what's happening in your backyard? Download the free Odyssey app. Follow your local news station, and you'll get alerts on the top stories making headlines in your city. You can stay in the know, no matter what you're up to, and be among the first to find out when news breaks. Plus, keep tabs on weather and traffic, so you're never caught off guard. To get started, download the Odyssey app. That's AUDACY, and follow your local news station.
Calling on Levittown.
Hello there.
To follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Bury me 6 feet deep. 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 Cover me in concrete. Turn me into a street. Bury me 6 feet deep. Cover me in concrete. Turn me into a street.
One of the best questions at tonight's Democrat debate up at Rider University that we're monitoring here on the Matt Rooney Show. One of the students. How will the candidates prevent New Jersey's budget from growing at the current rate it has during the Murphy administration? Here's the reason why that question is so important. If the current trend continues in my home state, folks, New Jersey taxpayers will be stuck with a $90 billion budget in 4 years. $90 billion. Billion with a B. You think property taxes are bad now? Buckle up, baby. It's about to get a whole lot worse. Unless, of course, New Jersey voters make a change in 2025. It is within your power. YouTube.com/@1210WPHT. That's where you can watch the Matt Rooney Show as well as listen, where there are plenty of folks that are finding out for the first time somehow, which I'm surprised because there's a lot of regulars in here tonight, that you're not an Eagles fan. That's well known.
Yeah, it's I feel like that's been well known since my time here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not a shtick either. I mean, Dan is a contrarian, but you're not an Eagles fan. You're a Cowboys fan.
I'm not a Cowboys fan.
You're a Cowboys fan, which is just gross. No, you said you were a Cowboys fan before.
No, you're taking the words out of my mouth.
Explain yourself.
I said I am a fan of the Packers. My number one team is the Packers, but I will also root for the Cowboys as well.
Which is even worse to have two favorite teams.
I never said the Cowboys are my favorite team. The Packers are my favorite, but I will root for the Cowboys.
But it doesn't work that way. You don't get to root for two teams.
Exactly how it works.
And the thing that's
what does it matter? They're not going anywhere anytime soon.
The thing that's even more absurd about it is I've heard, even though it's also BS, where people have two teams, but one's in the AFC and one's in the NFC.
They're both NFC.
You can't have two NFC teams. You can't do that.
I can make. There's no rules. There's no, unless you can show me the rule book where that's allowed, not allowed, then I will.
It's written on the heart of all true Americans and football fans.
If you want to know something, my mom and I are actually planning to take a trip, depending on the cost, a trip out to Texas to go see a Dallas Packers game.
No, that's disgusting.
So we can get the best of both worlds. She can get the Cowboys, I can get the Packers, and we'll call it a day.
That's disgusting. And your mom actually just popped up on the YouTube chat and said I raised him correctly.
She did.
And while I'm a big fan of Linda, look, I'm not sure about the whole raised him correctly thing.
She did.
But
in terms of football, yeah.
You can't be great at everything, right?
In terms of football, yeah.
No,
the reason for my hatred
hatred
for the Philadelphia Eagles comes from her.
Oh my God.
It runs in our family. It runs in the family. Well, besides my dad, but like my mom is the reason why I hate the Eagles. I grew up hating the Eagles, and I will always hate the Eagles. Can't change my mind. So go Chiefs on Sunday, only for those 4 hours or however long it is. Then after that, I'm a Packers fan. Continue with our scheduled regular program.
I just don't even know what to say about you. The Eagles are going to the Super Bowl.
Great.
The city from which we broadcast our home base, and then you disrespect our fan base like that.
Why would I want to root for a team where their fan base actively destroys the city, whether they win or they lose? And they also just beat people up for the hell of it.
They rip a couple awnings down. I'm not forgiving it. I think that they should be
Why would I
want
to do that?
I'm just saying. I mean, destroy the city.
I don't have any interest in it. I don't like the fans. I don't like the team. I don't like the city. I don't like anything about them. All right? End of story. That's it.
He doesn't like you is the bottom line. He doesn't like you all.
No, I'm fine with people. It's just if you root for the Eagles, they're obnoxious about it. Certain ones. I'm not going to go around and say every Eagles fan is obnoxious. So before you start tweeting or Xing me like, oh my God, I'm not.
We'll provide information at the end of the show for how you can lodge a complaint against Daniel.
I appreciate everyone. It's just your sports teams. I can't. If you just, I don't know what it is, but they just shove it in the face. They make it known that they're an Eagles fan, and I'm just like, I get it. They're just obnoxious. They're obnoxious. Take that as
you're terrible. You're a terrible person.
That's fine. No one says they have to like me.
You're a terrible person.
Facts don't care about your feelings.
No, that's true. They don't. Can we switch gears for a second? Speaking of facts,
absolutely, we can.
Facts and feelings.
Let's get it off me.
No, we're going to talk more about you soon enough here. You're not off the hook yet, baby.
Oh.
Did you watch RFK Jr.'s confirmation?
I watched some of it.
Yeah, what'd you think?
It's kind of ridiculous.
Which
Actually,
part?
the big thing that I'm taking out is that people's reaction. They're all like, "Why does RFK sound like that?" So I'll just like, they're like, "Oh, I don't want to listen to 4 years or so and so of like RFK speaking like that." And I'm like, "Well, that's kind of a-hole because he can't really help it." But
Well, not only can he not help it, but I mean, it's not like he's the president. How often do you have to listen to the Health and Human Services Secretary?
how often did Rachel Levine or Richard Levine, whatever you want to call them, by? How often?
Right.
How often did they speak?
Right.
You know
How
what I mean?
often are you driving in your car and then all of a sudden on the radio, and now for an interruption, a message from the Health and Human Services Secretary?
Exactly
Doesn't
my point.
Doesn't happen.
My favorite part, if I had to be honest, was
Yeah.
is actually the only reason why I know about it is because I don't watch the whole thing, but I do Rich Steele's social media videos, and one of the videos that he wanted me to do was Bernie Sanders grilling him over baby onesies. Did you not see that part? Man.
It figures that that's what you would zero in on, too.
That's what he sent me. And that's what I kept editing. And it was funny because I guess RFK like created some foundation or whatever it was for kids. And they have merch. And one of the merch on their website was like a baby onesie, but it was like an anti-vax like baby onesie. And Bernie Sanders was like, this baby onesie, kind of like baby clothes or whatever, something like that. And he's like, it's
The
$26.
baby onesie.
He's like, it's $26. And he just kept grilling him over these baby onesies.
I got to tell you,
Yeah.
not to make fun of anyone, especially when it's for a medical reason, but we wouldn't do that here on this program. Never, ever, ever. But RFK Jr. and Bernie going back and forth with their very distinctive ways of speaking.
Yeah.
That was something else.
Yeah.
That was something else. That was something to behold. But RFK Jr. taking quite a grilling on Capitol Hill. And at one point, I should have grabbed the audio for tonight, he offered a tremendous smackdown of Bernie Sanders. When Bernie Sanders was going after RFK Jr., one of the lines of attack they used on him is allegedly he was going to profit from lawsuits that he filed against pharmaceutical companies, and they wanted him to pledge that he wouldn't profit. Well, RFK Jr. turned the tables and pointed out that many of the members of that committee, including Bernie Sanders himself, have taken substantial campaign contributions from Big Pharma. And Bernie didn't know what to say. That's an actual recording, what you just heard just then.
I also don't.
Bernie's reaction.
This kind of goes along with all the confirmations, not just RFK, but they asked him too. I don't understand why all these senators were trying to grill them on the 2020 election, trying to say if Trump won or lost.
Because they're not actual confirmation.
I don't.
No one goes into these things, or almost no one goes into these things with a true open mind, which is why it's so ridiculous. We don't need the hearings.
Like what? Like
just have a vote.
Like if you're asking the health secretary, like why does it matter if he won or lost in 2020?
Because it's all politics.
You're asking the health secretary. That has nothing to do with his position. And they all said the same thing. Oh, well, Joe Biden was confirmed. Yes. So therefore, Joe Biden was the president. So therefore, he technically won the election. I don't know what they were trying to do at that point. They just kept asking about it.
No relevance at all.
No, it doesn't.
But here's what is relevant. I want to share this with you. So let's look at here's I put this together for you. This is how much money in campaign contributions these Democrats on the committee have taken in from Big Pharma. And then you have to ask yourself what their true motivation is for trying to take down RFK Jr. Bernie Sanders of Vermont, $1.9 million. Raphael Warnock of Georgia, $1.7 million. Liz Warren, Pocahontas herself, she took in $1.2 million.
Is Bernie Sanders including royalties from his book that he charges like $40 for?
Probably not. No, unless Big Pharma paid for it and bought him from his campaign. Ron Wyden of Oregon, $1.2 million. Michael Bennett of Colorado must not be good at the game because he only took in $730,000. Catherine Cortez Masto, Nevada, over $500,000. Maggie Hassan, nearly $500,000. And it goes on from there. Tina Smith up in Minnesota, nearly $250,000. The entire darn committee is bought and paid for by the people for whom RFK Jr. is public enemy number one. So what type of questioning did you think you were going to get with that knowledge? Whew. But that's what we give you here, folks, on this program. Facts, knowledge, tools to make your own good faith decisions, unlike what you see up there on Capitol Hill. Matt Rooney on the Matt Rooney Show, 855-839-1210. Quick timeout, but back with more in just a second. Don't go anywhere.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
This month, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT's Veteran Spotlight salutes Marine Corps veteran Joey Fay. Hey, it's Nick here. Join us this Wednesday morning as we shine a spotlight on this outstanding local veteran in partnership with the Travis Manion Foundation, celebrating their remarkable commitment to community service and their exceptional service in the military. Presented by Window Nation. For all of your window and door needs, visit windownation.com. Our Veteran Spotlight is this Wednesday from Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
This is Angelo at Family and Company Jewelers in Marlton, wishing the birds good luck as they go for their second ring. If she is still waiting for her ring, let my team at Family and Company Jewelers help you find the perfect one. Now, let's go birds!
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Free speech in Philly on Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
The Democrat National Committee has new leadership, ladies and gentlemen. Happened over the weekend. 2 white guys are going to lead the DNC. So much for diversity. I thought that's the kind of thing that we were trying to avoid in 2025 as a post-racial nation. Ken Martin was elected Democrat National Committee chair. He's currently the leader of the Minnesota party. So the guy who was partially responsible for Tim Walz is now going to lead the National Democrat Party. Lessons learned? I don't think so. And again, we should be, at least in some ways, I guess, grateful that Democrats are not learning their lesson, because that should, at least theory, make them easier to beat. Part of me, as I said earlier in reference to what's happening in New Jersey, wishes that the other major party in this country would move back towards the path of sanity, but not happening anytime soon. And then the pick of the Democrats nationally that's getting the most attention, and I know that you're a big fan of this guy, Dan, David Hogg. It's been said that you're the right's David Hogg, Mr. Valdez.
You mean David Hogg as in like the Parkland shooting? Dandy. David Hogg?
No, Daniel Hogg, yeah.
Is it David? Daniel?
No, it's David.
I was going to say.
You're basically like the same person. That's why
not really.
I confuse you.
Not really, but.
Yeah. But that obnoxious young man, I don't know how young he is anymore. He's still got to be.
He's my age.
He's got to be your age. Yeah, I think he's Gen Z. He won his bid to become
24.
He's 24?
Born in L.A.
Yeah, it's pretty young. He's going to be one of the 3 vice chairs that the Democrat National Committee has. He was elected on Saturday. He's known for his crazy outbursts on X, making crazy pronouncements. I saw one the other day where he basically denied the existence of the Second Amendment. Not that he disagreed with the premise of the Second Amendment, but denied that there was a right to carry arms, and then he got community noted.
If you type in David Hogg into Google, it says he's known for gun control advocacy and boycott of the Ingram angle. I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, he's just got this like little girly fascist vibe going on. I don't really know what to say about it. Like if Rachel Maddow and a demon reproduced, it would be David Hogg. And yeah, I mean, again, how many times can I say it? They're just not learning their lessons. They're turning almost exclusively now to their leadership for all that remains of their coalition. Relatively affluent, extremely far left, privileged white people.
Here's the thing about that I have with David Hogg. Here's the thing. It's not specifically about him. It's all those that group. I don't care if you protest. I really don't. But just don't be annoying about it. Like, he's annoying about it. He wants to get, like, he's in everyone's face. Like, we know we are protesting. We understand. Like, you don't have to go around and, like, do all this elaborate stuff. We get it. Like, I'm all about it. Go for it. Do what you want. That's cool. Heck yeah. Maybe I'll join in. But, like, just don't be annoying.
Well, it's the arrogance that goes along with self-righteousness, right?
Yeah.
They don't think that there are any other valid viewpoints except their own. They're actually surprised sometimes to find out that there are other viewpoints and that people disagree with them. That's part of the reasons why Democrats react so badly when they lose elections, because they are amazed that anyone could feel or think another way about these weighty public issues. And young Master Hogg is very much a reflection of that.
Like, I was coming home one day from my full-time job, and I was going through King and Preston. Just on the corner, there were just people protesting. I don't know what they were, but they were just people protesting. And I'm like, you know what? That's cool. They weren't bothering anyone. They just held signs, and they were just on a corner of a sidewalk. And I'm like, okay.
Free speech.
I was like, cool, great for them. But, like, when you start screaming at people and, like, getting mad at people for having different opinions that you're protesting, that's when it's a little annoying. Because, yeah, people can have different opinions about you, but that doesn't mean you have to hate the people just because they have different opinions. And I'm sorry if that's controversial, but, like, everyone has different opinions. That doesn't mean I have to hate the people or I don't have to be friends with them just because I disagree with them.
No, I mean, that's part of the way that, candidly, the country is held together as long as it has. I mean, we've had some breakdowns in that attitude, famously, over the course of our 250-year history. Well, not even recently. I mean, the most famous failure of ideological pluralism was the Civil War, right, of the 19th century, where we usually are able to figure out a way forward to compromise. Shelby Foote, a historian, used to say that was their genius, the ability to compromise. Sometimes it fails. But that's what we've talked about many times on this program. The dangerous thing about modern liberalism, the left in 2025, is that they have not only gone out far to left field, so it's hard to have a conversation with them for that reason, but their efforts with DEI and political correctness and cancellation have made it so that it is practically and mechanically hard to have a conversation with them because we don't even speak the same language anymore. That's not how you hold a country together.
You know, it's also kind of, I don't know if it's sad or if it's like, I really don't know how to explain it, but like, I'm looking up David Hogg on this. Like, I know who he is, but all these headlines are just saying, oh, Parkland shooting survivor. Parkland shooting survivor wins election. Parkland shooting survivor. I'm like, if that's all you're known for, maybe, granted, I'm not saying school shootings are, like, I know they're a thing. I understand that. But, like, if that's all you're known for and that's all you made your platform around, I feel like you probably shouldn't be a vice chair of the Democratic Party.
No, I think that your comments
something
are fair.
along those
lines. He's an American. He's an adult. He has a right to have an opinion, just like anyone else. But that's all. That's his only justification for being at the table, right? That something happened to him.
Correct. Like, no one knew who he was until this happened, and then he's like...
And there's been no other notable accomplishments
right,
since,
and then
at least until this win.
Right, and then he's come out, and, he's done all this stuff about gun control and all that kind of stuff, and now all of a sudden it's like, hey, he wins a vice chair, and now people are still saying, oh, Parkland shooting survivor wins vice chair. Like, you gotta... I don't know if...
You gotta keep evolving.
Right, and I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like it's kind of sad, where it's like, I'm not trying to get hate for this, but I think what happened in Parkland was a tragedy. I understand that, but like, you can't go around you can't keep milking it. I say that the nicest way possible. You can't just keep going around saying that he's a school shooting survivor, which he is. I'm not taking that away from him.
I get what you're saying.
But, like, you can't just make your platform all flat.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
I said it in the nicest way possible. I'm not trying to stir
It was
anything,
very
but,
nice.
like,
It was actually
yeah.
unusually and disarmingly nice for you.
Yes.
Because you usually don't make any attempt to be kind with your critiques.
No, I want to give people the benefit of that. If he wants to run, go for it. I don't mind it at all. It doesn't affect me in any way possible.
I mean, I'd say I'd go a
But-
different direction with the whole thing. I'd say that he experienced this terrible thing and didn't apparently learn much from it.
Correct. That's what I was trying to say. I just didn't find the words for it. Yeah.
His answer to an event, a school shooting, which is, we know, very much symptomatic, not so much of America's gun culture, but the collapse of our culture generally. And his answer is to throw his lot in with the Democrat Party, which has done more than any other movement in modern history to promote this culture of just deep cynicism and the degradation of the value of life. And I mean, just look at the recent headlines, right? You had all kinds of people celebrating that Donald Trump was almost killed and people sorry that the assassination wasn't successful. I mean, that's all from the left, right? So to throw in with that crew after you survive something like a school shooting, it boggles the mind.
And on the website, on the Florida Democratic Party website, it literally says, "Congratulations to our new DNC Vice Chair, David Hogg," which, cool. Congrats to that guy.
Right, sure.
And then it says, "David Hogg's journey is truly remarkable, from Parkland survivor to national gun violence prevention advocate to now." So what has he done other than gun violence prevention that makes him basically eligible for this position?
Famous for being famous, man.
That Kim Kardashian can get this position at that point.
Yeah, he's basically, if Kim Kardashian was a skinny, not voluptuous, unattractive white guy. Basically the same thing, right?
There's even conspiracy theories about David Hogg not even being at Parkland, that he was just there. So I don't know. I'm not going to start that. I don't know if I believe that or not, but I'm just saying, don't make your platform off of one thing.
Should we create a new segment, Dan's Unfounded Conspiracies?
I got a lot.
A lot of unfounded conspiracy theories.
Just a lot of weird, fun conspiracy theories too.
But you don't believe that one?
I don't believe that he wasn't there. I believe that he probably was. That's not something that I would personally make up. And if you do make it up, then you're a scum.
You know what isn't a conspiracy theory?
Go for it.
That the Democrat Party, it's not just their views that make them a mess. They can't even run their own party without doing so in an embarrassing fashion. This clip is perfect. This is from the actual DNC vote that produced Master Hogg and the new DNC chair in their new leadership positions. They don't even understand their own rules, and they have these quote-unquote gender balance provisions that are in place when they go to elect their leaders for the Democrat National Committee. Sometimes hearing is just believing. This is from Saturday, cut number 11. Enjoy.
We're finding out ways to expedite this. Because of our gender balance provisions on this next ballot, you will be able to vote for 2 candidates of any gender on the next ballot. Okay? So on this next ballot, you will be able to vote for 2 candidates of any gender on the next ballot. If 2 candidates receive, I'm going to turn to Helen to clarify this last part.
You are in this next ballot where you have 2 votes. As the chair has said, you may vote for 2 males, 2 females, 2 of any gender, okay? Nope, you can't do that because we've got to balance. You could vote for 1 of any gender, okay?
What? What?
Or no, non-binary gender, excuse me.
What?
It is late, okay?
What's late to them? Like 4?
They don't even know. So you've got these 2 leaders of this organization standing out there who can't explain the rules, these gender-based rules, to the Democrats that are voting. This party is a hot mess, folks. Hot mess. And I do mean hot because you just see that floral number she was wearing? The giant poinsettias.
Yeah, that's a statement.
That's going to be a hit at the nursing home. Let me tell you.
There's also another thing that I don't.
We hit on grandmas here at the Matt Rooney Show.
Another thing that I just don't understand. I don't know why we have to make everything about gender. I really don't. Male, female, whatever you want to be, I don't care. But like, it doesn't bother me. But like, let's stop making things about gender. Like,
well, you know why it is though.
A man can do it. A female can do it. Anyone can do it. Why does it have to matter?
Because people are seeking validation they didn't get from their family. And the way that they're seeking validation is not by succeeding. They're seeking it by trying to compel the government to force everyone else to accept them and validate them. And Democrats are fine to go along with it because they can only survive if they create new victim classes. So you said earlier in tonight's program, you're fine with LGBTQ. You just don't like the plus. That plus is the only growth area that remains to this wacky Democrat Party in 2025. Nobody else is signing up. Hispanics, Black Americans, working class whites, everyone else is running for the exits.
I just don't get it. Like, I'm sure there is a female out there who could do the job that I have right now a lot better. I'm sure there is.
We've thought many times about replacing you with a competent female.
Exactly my point. I'm sure there is. Why wouldn't, like, if it was between her and I wouldn't expect anyone to choose me because she does it better. Like, I don't see why gender has to play a role in all this stuff. Like, if the person's better and more qualified, then just...
It's the politics of victimhood, man. That's why we got to beat this out of our culture.
Like, who cares, man?
Yeah.
Women, I don't care what you are. Like,
I say the same thing about
be you. I don't care.
Yeah, look, I say the same thing about almost any arena, right? We should have a meritocracy, and this is one of the things that the left doesn't understand or doesn't want to understand about Donald Trump. Donald Trump only sees utility in the people that work for him. He doesn't care what you are. He cares about whether or not you're going to do a good job for the Trump organization or, now that he's president, the American people. That's it. That's all that matters to him. And it's the most American thing of all that we don't care about who you are, where you came from, who your parents were, which plot of land that your people used to occupy. If you come here and you can get the job done and you can do it honestly, God bless America. Rise as far and as high as your industry will take you. And it should tell you all you need to know about the Democrat Party and the left, that they not only disagree with what I just said, they're offended by it. They're offended by it. And it's one of the reasons why I refuse to indulge the whole transgenderism thing. I mean, to your point, Dan, like, you know, if I walk out of here tonight and I see a man in a dress, I don't care. Right? I mean, do what you want to do. You want to have purple hair. You're a dude, you want to wear a dress.
What's wrong with purple hair?
But that's not, I'm not saying, that's the point I'm making. I don't care. It's not it doesn't matter what I think.
I like purple hair.
I don't care. My point is when you push it on children or when you try to force all of us to validate it by demanding legal equity for something that's purely a personal preference.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there are not multiple genders. We're not frogs. We can't change our sex. You're either a boy or you're a girl, right? And there's 0.0001% of the population that's born with both sets of equipment. That's a little different, right? But that's not what we're talking about here. So if you're born a girl and you want to dress as a boy, knock yourself out. But I'm under no obligation to pretend it's a real thing, because it's not. It's only become a thing because the Democrat Party thinks that making you a victim will help them win elections. The medical industry has figured out that, if we validate this, we can pump you full of drugs and give you therapy and bill insurance and make money off of it. And there's leftist activists, right, who this is their lifeblood, finding new victims, creating organizations to allegedly advocate for their rights and line their own pockets. Right? I'm opting out of that. I'm not indulging it anymore. You should never be cruel to anyone so long as they are not trespassing against the life and liberty of you and your family or your business, whatever, right? But that's a whole different thing from having to participate in their fantasy. You have no obligation as an American to do so. And I would actually argue you're probably doing a lot of harm.
Going back to the whole David Hogg thing, the left is always like, oh, how was this person qualified? Like during every single confirmation hearing, how's this person qualified? How's this person qualified? By the way, do you know what the qualifications are to be Secretary of Defense? Like what Pete Hegseth was confirmed for? Do you know legit what the qualifications are?
What do you mean what the qualifications are?
Like the actual qualifications to do that job. Do you know them?
To be the Secretary of Defense?
Correct.
Well, it's not in the Constitution.
No, but there are a set of like specific qualifications that like are actually listed.
All right, lay it out there.
Do you know what they are?
I mean, you have to have some knowledge of how the military operates, right?
Yeah. The actual qualifications for that job, and I don't know if anyone understands or
Where is this written or codified?
I can find the website, but I know it's an actual thing.
Okay.
The actual qualification for that job is to be a civilian and to be at least 7 years retired from the military. That's literally the only technical qualifications that you need to do that job.
Well, how can that be? Because when Mattis was Secretary of Defense, he wasn't out 7 years, was he?
That's what the qualifications are.
I'm going to fact check you on that.
Go ahead.
One.
Anyway, what I was going back to saying is like...
but make your point.
They're all saying like, how's this person qualified and all this, but how's David Hogg qualified to be part of the vice chair of the DNC? All he does is gun control advocate. Like you can't say this person's qualified to be a chair of the DNC.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, you asked a question earlier in the program that you wanted me to bring up during the Republican debate this week, which is what are you Republicans going to do to bring in young people? Democrats are starting to lose young Americans. Democrats' answer, it seems, is to double down on guys like David Hogg. Does David Hogg make you more likely, Dan, as a relatively open-minded guy, to give Democrats another look?
No. I found the website, by the way.
All right, what is it?
From the uscode.house.gov. So like a legit government website.
Okay.
There is a Secretary of Defense who is the head of the Department of Defense, appointed from civilian life by the President by and with the advice and consent of the Senate. A person may not be appointed as Secretary of Defense within 7 years after relief from active duty as commissioned officer of a regular component of an armed force in a grade below 07, or within 10 years after release from active duty as a commissioned officer of a regular component of an armed force in the grade of 07 or above. That's what it says.
Are you sure you're not thinking of another position?
Secretary of Defense, correct?
Yes.
Literally what I'm reading right here. It's what it says.
Because look, Mattis, I'm looking right now. Mattis left his position as 11th Commander of Central Command in March 2013. He became Secretary of Defense in January 2017 at the beginning of Trump's first term. That's 4 years.
I don't know, man.
We're going to investigate this.
U.S. law provides that the Secretary of Defense cannot have served as an active duty commissioned officer in the military in the preceding 7 years, except for generals and admirals who cannot.
Except for generals and admirals.
There's
okay.
more. Except for generals and admirals who cannot have served on active duty within the previous 10 years.
Okay, all right. So looking at this, maybe they don't consider Central Command active duty. That seems odd to me. He was the commander of Joint Forces Command, I think, within 10 years, though.
Oh, Chris Sabolito says Congress can waive the 7-year requirement for the Secretary of Defense. Either way.
Is that what Chris said over on YouTube?
Either way, the qualifications for that specific position are very low to the point where if you've basically did your time in the military and you're a civilian, you're qualified to do so.
Well, let's not forget, though, that the other element that's important surrounding Hegseth and his recent confirmation is that we are in exceptional times, right? They may have made an exception for Mattis because of his extraordinary experience. In the case of Hegseth, Donald Trump, at all levels of the federal bureaucracy, but specifically at the Department of Defense, needs an outsider. Unfortunately, given how our military has gone in recent years, most of the generals, or at least the majority of the generals and the senior staff, are compromised. They're part of the deep state.
Yeah.
So if you're going to clean it up, you need someone that doesn't have a direct affiliation with it. And that's why Hegseth's confirmation was so so darn important. And hopefully it's going to pay dividends for the country moving forward. We'll find out in the very near future, won't we? Over on YouTube, again, youtube.com/@1210WPHT, where Sandy says, Hegseth is experienced. Oh, I know. We're not saying he's inexperienced. We're saying his detachment from Pentagon culture is what makes him so potentially potent as a reform agent. We're going to take a break, and then we will return one final hour. Much more to cover. We've got Twit Talk coming up. Also, Dan Cerrucci to help preview the upcoming New Jersey Republican gubernatorial debate here on 1210 WPHT.
Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Kale and Company weekday mornings 6 till 10.
Zuckerberg's company of Facebook and Instagram yesterday agreed to pay $25 million to settle Donald Trump's lawsuit alleging censorship. I gotta tell you, if you're Trump and you're just looking at Zuckerberg, he's cozying up to you. Now he has to give you $25 million. Remember the scene in Remember the Titans when Denzel Washington goes up to Gary Bertier and he's like, Gary, who's your daddy, Gary? If you want to get on that bus, who's your daddy, Gary? That's Trump right now to Mark Zuckerberg, and I love it. I love every bit of it.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
Officials identified the 6 passengers that died in the jet crash in Northeast Philly Friday night, including the 11-year-old patient and her mother. Mayor Sherelle Parker updates the injury toll to 22. All told, 7 people are dead. And officials are still searching for the black box, hoping it'll shed some light on the crash.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-668-6655. That's 800-668-6655. Again, that's 800-668-6655.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Auto Group Studios, experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Don't miss the Labor and Energy Show with J-Doc and Krause. Brought to you by the Labor and Energy Alliance this Saturday night at 6. Find out about the important issues that will affect you. The Labor and Energy Show, Saturday night at 6 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-727-9105. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-727-9105. 800-727-9105. 800-727-9105.
Opiates has taken everything and everyone I've ever loved away from me. Everything.
I blew my ankle out and I got prescribed pain pills by my doctor.
If making my detox public is going to help somebody, I'm all for it. I just wish I would have had a warning.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days.
Know the truth, spread the truth. A message from Truth, the Ad Council, and ONDCP.
As a veteran of Iraq or Afghanistan, joining IAVA.org really helps in the transition home. It's a network of OIF and OEF vets like me who've got your back here, just like we did over there. That means when you need help navigating the GI Bill, we've got your back. And when you're dealing with the transition home, we've got your back. Or when you just want someone to share stories with, we've got your back. Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America is there for you. Join our community at IAVA.org. We've got your back.
Brought to you by IAVA and the Ad Council.
I remember the moment.
I'll never forget that moment.
That changed my life.
At that moment, it hit me. This is why I joined the Guard. We're soldiers, always ready to protect our country. But we've also got communities. Family, friends, neighbors who count on us. I couldn't believe it. I just saved a life. Somebody from my hometown.
See what it means to be a citizen soldier at NationalGuard.com.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios, powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Matt Rooney on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Uh-oh. You know, Donald Trump is on the right track when his old pal Chris Christie is angry. He might eat somebody.
When isn't he angry? He's angry when he doesn't get his large Domino's pizza.
His num-nums. Me want num-nums. He was on with George Stephanopoulos, folks. That angry troll who lives under a bridge and probably eats billy goats. He probably would anyway if Chris Christie didn't get to him first.
Chris Christie probably likes having 4 brookies a night.
Yeah, I heard many years ago that the secret to his weight situation is that he was a late night eater. I had that from reliable sources.
I can see it.
Yeah, which, I mean, look, any time in my life that I've gained weight, you can actually go a significant period of time during the course of your workday where you're not eating, right? Because you're so busy, you're on the road, you're doing whatever. And then you'll eat 3 junior bacon cheeseburgers.
Well, they're junior, so it's fine.
Right before bed.
It's a junior, it's fine.
That is true. That's medical advice. If junior is in the title, they're less bad for you.
JBC.
JBCs. I could go for a JBC.
I love
right
JBCs.
Now. Yeah.
Got to do the 4 for 4.
But Chris Christie was on This Week with George Stephanopoulos earlier today and said that FBI agents are stunned by what's happening at the Trump DOJ, Department of Justice.
What have they done? The dude just got in office. What have they done?
Well, apparently people are being fired, right? They're being asked not to come back. They're being invited to resign. Their work resulted in convictions that were brought by juries or guilty pleas, Chris Christie says. And, of course, he's talking about the January 6th related convictions. Now, of course, let's remember part of the reason why Chris Christie, a.k.a. Fatty McThunderbiscuits, as he's known around here on the Matt Rooney Show, why he's so twisted about all of this. Chris Christie, back in 2016, after Donald Trump was elected the first time, was involved in the Trump transition. He ultimately got bounced out of that role, but one of Chris Christie's worst suggestions to Donald Trump was Christopher Wray. Christopher Wray, who we know just ran the FBI and its reputation into the ground over the course of the past several years. Oh, we forgot that we do have our Chris Christie theme song.
It's our Chris Christie theme song. You just see him waddling. And his fupa. We see this is what plays when you're walking down the street of Jersey and you just see Chris Christie. This is the band that goes on behind him. It's just this on repeat. That's all it is.
I will vote for whichever Republican gubernatorial candidate promises that there will be a new law that a brass band will follow Chris Christie around.
Just one person, just a tuba.
I guess
one
that's
person.
True. You just need a tuba.
Just one person. That's it.
Whenever he's in the state.
Yeah. And anytime that he's making some kind of a speech or anything, this has to be like his intro music, his walk-up song, like anything.
Yes. And for those who've never seen him in person, it is insane how I've never seen anybody like this. He is as wide as he is tall, and as tall as he is
I think
wide.
he's
It's incredible,
wider, dude. He's got to be wider.
It's incredible. But Christopher Wray was Chris Christie's suggestion to lead the FBI, and Christopher Wray, recall, was Christie's Bridgegate lawyer. Christopher Wray has undermined President Trump at every single turn and been a key member of the deep state. So Chris Christie is more than a little annoyed that Donald Trump has brought about Chris Wray's resignation from the FBI, his early resignation, and now all Chris Wray's buddies and fellow deep staters are being cleansed from the FBI. It's more than a little butthurt that Kash Patel is coming in. And, yeah, I mean, as a couple people are saying over on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT, this is Chris Christie acting hangry, man. He's hangry. But he's not just hangry for calories. He's hangry for relevance. He is so used to people caring what he thinks. And now ABC, they're the only ones that at least pretend to care what he thinks. And he continues to get time on ABC for the reason that Republicans always get attention from these networks. If you are willing to go on and debase yourself by trashing your own party, they'll pay you. They'll pony up. Now, that business model is starting to change a little bit.
I found Chris Christie when he's angry.
You what? Oh. Oh.
That's what he says. That's what he sounds like.
That freaked me out. I thought Chris Christie was actually at the door when I heard that.
Oh, no. Actually, well, I think he's walking.
I don't have any food. Leave me alone.
Oh,
Go away.
He just walked away.
Oh,
it's crazy.
Goodness gracious. That was a close one.
Yeah.
Again, youtube.com/@1210WPHT, folks, if you are so inclined, if you want to confirm that I am indeed as handsome as I sound. I'm a little portly, little dad body, but not
okay.
quite.
It's in style
Not
nowadays.
quite Christie-like.
That's in style.
It is in style. It shows that I'm able to feed myself.
Yeah.
We're going back. We're going retro. And by retro, I mean like 19th century retro.
I don't know, man. I saw
back
a lot
when poor people were emaciated. Today's poor people are fat.
There's been studies that, not so much for you, but there's been studies that women like dad bods more than toned, muscular dudes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not. It's totally.
I don't have anything. I don't have either, but you know
totally
that works.
Well, with you got this whole like sultry toothpick thing going on. Like women want to use you to get corn out of their teeth. It's very attractive.
Bella's done that a couple times.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
Mm-hmm. Just on a lone Thursday night. She's like, let's get this corn out of my teeth.
Let's get this corn out of my teeth.
Like,
baby
all right.
boy.
All right, let's go.
Come on, boo thing.
Boo thing.
Boo
Yep,
thing.
you got it. You
Boo
got
thing. Well, we got Dan Cerrucci coming up here in just a little bit, folks. I think the Democrat debate has wrapped. The Democrat gubernatorial debate over at Rider University and the Dirty Jurors, that is over. But the Republican debate that yours truly is co-hosting and participating in as a member of the panel is coming up in just 48 hours.
I'm starting to think that you're hosting a debate or something.
Listen, shameless plugging is perfectly fine and acceptable, especially when it's something of general interest. And our listeners, many of whom are on the Jersey side of the river, or even those that are in Pennsylvania, recognize the importance of the New Jersey election this year. They're clued in, man. They're plugged in. You're the only one that doesn't care. I was actually going to offer you a ticket, but I know you wouldn't come. These tickets are hard to come by.
Nah, I'm good.
Yeah, see, I knew that would be your reaction.
Not because...
As an enterprising producer, you should be like, oh, I should come, because then maybe it'll be good content for the show.
Not because I'm not interested and I don't want to spend time with you. It's just because I have no connections to Jersey whatsoever.
Except that you produce a radio show.
It doesn't matter. I can't vote
broadcast
there.
Across New Jersey.
I can't vote there, so the governor of New Jersey does not affect me anyway.
Why does that matter?
I can't vote there, so why would I go for a gubernatorial
because
debate?
You're part of a program that covers New Jersey politics.
What does that have to do with anything?
Don't you
can't
think
vote
it might
here?
help you
I
do your
can't
job
vote
better?
there. No, it doesn't, actually. I don't know what you want me to do. I don't know.
I don't know. There's no excuses for you. There's no excuses whatsoever. I'll find somebody else. I've only got one ticket left. And by the way, some of you have been asking.
Your wife? I don't know.
No, Mrs. Rooney doesn't want any part of this.
Okay, good.
She doesn't want any part of this. She has a life. You don't have a life, so I'm assuming that you.
I have a life. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
So I wasn't here the past month.
Right, I was going to say. Dan's got a million things he'd rather be doing than this program. Some of you have been asking me online, like, hey, listen, can we get tickets? Sorry, there's no place to go sign up for tickets. There's a very limited number available for this event.
Be the 21st caller and you can get a ticket.
Yeah, I was thinking originally about doing something like that, but we can't, unfortunately. Sorry.
You could.
Well, I could, but I'm not going to.
It's too late now.
Yeah, it's too late. There just wasn't enough time. There wasn't enough time.
First person to call in and say that I'm the better producer out of the two of us will get the ticket single-handedly.
Dan will come over and he will use his body to remove corn from your teeth.
Yes.
He will be a human toothpick for you. 21st caller tonight. 855-839-1210. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to play some ads. We're going to make some money because that's how we keep Dan and Butterbrickle around here. And when we return, let's talk a little NJ politics. Let's talk 2025. Remember, the reason 2025 is so important, and I've said it before this program, and I'm going to say it again. Every great political revolution in this country of the modern age has always been preceded by victory in New Jersey. We won the governorship in 1993 in New Jersey. What happened in 1994? Newt Gingrich's contract with America and the Republican Revolution. GOP took over the U.S. House of Representatives for the first time in a long time. Then, in 2009, we won in New Jersey with Fatty McThunder Biscuits before it was evident that he was a traitor. 2010, the Tea Party Revolution. So the next great political awakening in this country, which is already underway, right, can happen in 2026 across the fruited plain, including right here in the Keystone State. But if you want it to happen, we need to light the fire. We need to ignite this movement with victory in New Jersey and Virginia, then I-95. But Jersey, we're emotionally attached to it, right? It's got to happen here coming up in just several months. So with that in mind, let's take that break. Let's play those ads. And when we return, Mr. Cerrucci will help us break down not only the Democrat debate, but the big event coming up on Tuesday here on the Matt Rudy Show.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. It's time to celebrate American Heart Month with Rescue Natural Supplements. For nearly 40 years, Rescue Omega-3 has been providing people with the essentials to fortify heart health, reduce inflammation, and support healthy cholesterol levels. That's why it's the best time to dive into Rescue's February special. Right now, Rescue's most popular products, their premium omega-3 fish oils, are buy one, get one free exclusively for radio listeners. Just use the listener code OMEGA50 when placing your order. Call today at 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a knowledgeable product consultant or use that code OMEGA50 online when you visit res-q.com. That's res-q.com. Don't forget the code OMEGA50 when buying a one bottle of Rescue Omega-3s. Get a second bottle free. OMEGA50. Fortify your heart. Support a healthier well-being with a Rescue Omega-3.
This is Dr. Marianne Ritchie. Tune in to Your Radio Doctor every Saturday afternoon at 5 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT for the latest healthcare news and information, because your health is your wealth. That's Your Radio Doctor, Saturdays at 5.
At California Psychics, we know that when you're still looking for love, Valentine's Day sucks. Every restaurant is fully booked, even the average ones. Suddenly all chocolates are heart-shaped. And all the PDA. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to help you find the one. We connect you with the very best. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. That's why we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, is free. Download the app or connect with us at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So you could be flaunting your love life in public real soon. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel yet? Do it today at 1210 WPHT.
I should say thank you to everyone out there in Matt Rooney Show land for your questions you've been sending to me all night. Getting some direct messages on X. My handle's Matt Rooney NJ. In your mentions, suggested debate questions for Tuesday's GOP gubernatorial debate at Rider University. Also getting a little bit of hate out there, Daniel, but that's nothing unusual for us. Not everyone loves what we do.
Yeah. Nope. I get it. It's fine. Sometimes I hate it, but it is what it is.
But you just told me my favorite one of the evening.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Am I saying their handle too, or what?
We'll protect the not innocent.
Oh, I don't really care. They tweeted it. It's public.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
All right. Coming from Brian Fletcher, Movie Love 102781.
Yeah.
When you hear Matt Rooney on 1210 WPHT, doesn't he sound like one of those crusty college deans from either Animal House or Old School? Rooney is a D-bag along with being a homophobe and transphobe.
So, crusty old Dean, is he referring to Dean Wormer?
Dean Vernon?
Dean Vernon Wormer?
Correct, and Dean Gordon Pritchard.
Yeah. I mean, I love the Dean Wormer character. So I'm not really offended by that.
Yeah, well, are any of them Are any of them? I've never seen any of these movies. Are any of them?
You've never seen Animal House?
No, a D-bag, a homophobe, or a transphobe.
No, I don't think it has anything to do with homophobia.
Yeah. Chris, I believe is right. Fletcher's a total PhD troll. Yeah, I don't worry, I'm well aware. But I think his comments.
Dean Vernon Wormer from the movie has one of my favorite quotes of all time: "Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son."
Actually is. Maybe just drunk and stupid, not fat. Christie's fat, but
I was going to say you don't want to have all three. You don't want the hat trick. You only want two of them.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
I would like to address this, though. I mean, not that I take this person seriously, whoever it is that said this, but it is a valid point that needs to be made because we have talked about the whole gender thing tonight. Look up the definition of phobia, right? It's an irrational fear of something.
Like claustrophobic means you're afraid of Santa Claus.
Right, which Dan has had for many years. He's working through that with his therapist. There's arachnophobia, spiders, right?
Yeah.
You can't have an irrational fear of something that is a sociological construct, right? Like, there is no trans. You can't be trans. It's not a thing, right? And if that offends you, then maybe you're a logic phobe. You have a phobia of logic because it's inescapable logic. As soon as humans evolve or devolve, depending upon your perspective, where they can change their sex like certain amphibians can, then give me a shout. And I will happily say, you know what, you're on to something. And I guess at that point, I'll become a crusty old dean of some fictional movie university. But until such time, I'm not the one that's afraid of anything. It's some of you out there in lefty land who are afraid of the cold, hard facts that don't comport with your preferred reality. You see this distinction there? I hope you do. YouTube.com/1210WPHT. Good to see everybody over there tonight having fun. Nice crowd online as well as the old-fashioned way on the airwaves. But let's bring in our final guest of the evening to tee up what's happening not only tonight, New Jersey, but in the week ahead. He's one of my favorite commentators in the Delaware Valley. He is a PR professional. He is the proprietor of dancerrucci.com, where entertainment, culture, government affairs, public affairs, politics, it's all on the table. And when we need someone to break down moments of great import in this day and age of ours. He's always one of our first calls if he is available. So without further ado, the one, the only Dan Cerrucci. Welcome back, my friend, to the Matt Rooney Show. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you, Matt. I hope I live up to all that, all those things that you just said. Oh, my goodness. I got to take a deep breath here. Anyway, listen, it struck me that with this criticism that you got from this person, this rather crude criticism, this was classic Rooney because, you see, if you take a shot at Rooney, he's going to turn it into a debating point. And this is probably why he's a lawyer, because I've been told by someone who would know that he's always loved to argue. So you can throw an emotional punch at him, and it's just going to turn into a discussion about logic. Hi, Matt.
Well, listen, I appreciate you saying that, but you're on to something, right? Because, and this is one of the reasons why I'm always amazed that Democrats tend to inflate the ranks of members of the legal profession, my profession. You work for many years for a bar association.
Absolutely.
Because this sophistry, right, this emotive thinking does not fly in front of a judge. Now, there's some theater obviously involved in oral argument, especially if there's a jury. But most of the time, it's you, another lawyer, maybe multiple lawyers, making your argument to a judge on matters of law and how the law should be applied to the facts. And you can't get away with some of this stuff with most judges. So, I mean, it is literally what I do for a living. And I'm always amazed that, we know why, though, right? Because the left is in the business of manipulating people.
And it serves you well. And it just served you well again tonight.
Well, I appreciate that, my friend. Hopefully it serves me well on the debate stage in just 48 hours. I know that you're coming. I've been teasing that all night, and I'm sure you're looking forward to it. The Republican debate, which is co-sponsored by Rider University, the New Jersey Globe, our friend David Wildstein, and Save Jersey, coming up in just 2 days. I'll be on the stage as one of the panelists asking the questions of the candidates. Dan will be there, bliggity-blogging, doing his thing, providing peerless coverage. Let's back up a little bit, though, Dan. Did you watch any of tonight's Democrat debate?
No, I'm sorry to say I didn't. And they have the terrible misfortune of being on, or I don't even know if they're on television per se, but being broadcast wherever they're broadcast the same night as the Grammy Awards. And of all the awards programs, ratings-wise, it seems that the Grammy Awards has held up best. So I wouldn't want to go up against the Grammy Awards.
Maybe that's because, and I'm speaking as someone that doesn't watch any award shows, maybe it's because the music industry is obviously healthier than the movie industry in 2025.
Yeah, and it's a lot more accessible, It reaches a lot more people across many, many more genres. But on the Democrat side, the very little bit that I've been observing, I would say that the people to watch right now are this Mikey Cheryl. I don't know why she calls herself Mikey. What is her actual name? Her actual, is it like Michelle or something or what? I mean,
she
Big Mike.
She thinks it makes her.
Are we talking about Big Mike, Michelle Obama?
Big Mike, Michelle Obama. Yeah, that's actually what her real birth name is, Big Mike Cheryl. Yeah, well, she thinks it makes her accessible. Her full name, for those who don't know, the Congresswoman from the 11th Congressional District, is Rebecca Michelle Cheryl.
What the hell do you get Mikey from?
Right.
I don't know where the Mikey came from, although I know
it's very contrived.
She loves to remind you that she was in the military service of some kind, and she drove some kind of aircraft or something. That's all right. So for some reason, I would say that the two formidable people right now are her and this guy Spiller, because he's got the backing of the NJEA, and you can't go out on a highway anywhere around here without seeing one of his billboards. And by the way, I still think that billboards are, pretty potent advertising medium. But that's
especially in
all
a
I
state
know
where you
about
spend
it.
a lot of time sitting on highways trying to get from one place to another, right?
Exactly.
They're in your face. But Sean Spiller, who you just mentioned,
yeah.
for people that don't know, he is the incumbent president of the New Jersey Miseducation Association, as they're known around here. Tons of money, the most powerful of the public sector unions. And, the obvious that there are countless thousands of teachers across New Jersey who are a captive audience of this guy and his very well-heeled union that get by on their union dues.
Yeah, the thought of the president of the NJEA running for any office, let alone governor, not very many years ago was like unthinkable. All right, we know they're political, but not one of their officers is not going to run on as part of a political candidate for office.
Yeah.
So the two most audacious people here right now are Spiller and our radio talk show host that's running on the Republican side, Spadia.
Right, and that's a great segue to the Republican debate because I will tell you that the Democrat debate tonight, obviously I'm not watching it live because I'm on the radio, but from what I've been told by my informants that are there and watching, it's exactly what you might expect. Like, case in point, there was apparently not a single Democrat tonight that was willing to say they would end New Jersey's sanctuary statehood status, which in light of recent events, not just public opinion, which is clearly turning against it, it's quite remarkable. So, we're hoping to see a contrast on Tuesday at Rider University when we're there, and I'll be on stage asking the questions. But I interrupted you, Dan. One of the candidates is Bill Spadia, who's a host, at least he was until last week, on a different station.
As a general rule, talk show hosts running for political office it hasn't been a very good track record, okay? A lot of them have toyed with it, like Joe Piscopo, for example, in New Jersey, several times for governor and then didn't run. Larry Elder ran in California for governor. He really didn't go anywhere. Mike Pence was a talk show host, so he probably made it further than any other conservative talk show host, but, look where he is now. So I would say, as a general rule, I think that what Spadia will have to show us on Tuesday night, if he's going to be credible, is he's going to have to show us that he's serious and that he's gubernatorial, okay? And he's going to have, it seems to me, a hard time running away from all the things that he has said on his talk show program, which he has said at one time or another, like any talk show host practically, at one time or another has said everything and anything. And now all of those things can come back to haunt him, many of them contradictory, of course.
Yeah, and I know the one that his opponents have really been hitting him with is, I want to say it was in 2022, relatively recently. He said something to the effect of, Trump is over, he failed, it's time to move on from Donald Trump. So naturally, that's something that some Trump supporters are cluing into and saying, hey, what gives? Because, and I think this is a point that's often misunderstood by those on the outside looking in. It's not a loyalty test so much as a sign to Republican voters in 2025 whether or not you are genuinely and sincerely devoted to the project of reforming our politics. That's really what the question is about. Because if it was simply about loyalty to Trump, hey, very few people out there with a microphone or any type of platform have not criticized Donald Trump at one stage or another, right?
Well, this would include the current Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance,
right,
who was not very long ago, a critic of Trump. And I think, he managed to address it quite effectively. And I would imagine that at the debate, that is something that Jack Ciattarelli is also going to have to address.
Right. So Spadia, you mentioned Spadia. He's arguably one of the top two candidates in this race in terms of name recognition and funding, although he's far behind in both categories. The second gentleman you just mentioned, Jack Ciattarelli, who was the 2021 nominee. Where do you see Jack in his position as he heads into this first Republican debate?
Well, Matt, in New Jersey, name recognition is very important. And the reason why is because we don't have a statewide television station. We don't have a statewide radio station. We don't have a statewide newspaper. Okay? This is like a weird state, media-wise. It's, as we know, it's very, very expensive to buy ads because you've got to buy them in Philadelphia or New York. I think it's absolutely outrageous, and I've said this for many years, that we don't have a statewide radio or television station. New Jersey 101 is not a statewide radio station.
Hey,
okay?
I say it all the time. And it's one of the reasons why SaveJersey.com has done so well, just because there was a vacuum online for statewide news that didn't have a leftist bent.
Right. So in that vacuum, name recognition is very important. I think with Jack Ciattarelli, who comes into this with the best name recognition and is arguably the front runner, what he's got to do, he's got to seem like he's ready to be governor. He's got to be gubernatorial. He certainly looks like a governor, okay? He has a wonderful demeanor. But I think he's got to be feistier. He's got to show more teeth now. He's got to mix it up a bit. And he's got to be more visceral with the voters of New Jersey. He's got to make this sort of, I don't know how you describe it, visceral connection with New Jersey, in the same manner that in the beginning Chris Christie did. And by the way, no one did it better than Chris Christie. Beginning that Chris Christie did.
No, Christie 09 was kind of the perfect Republican campaign for a blue state. Dan, very briefly, because we're coming up on a break, there's two other candidates, Ed Durr, rock star from 21, but lost re-election, hasn't really raised money, and then John Bramnick, certainly a charismatic, smart guy, but an avowed never-Trumper. What can they do in this debate, do you think, to come out of it being able to say they won or had a good night?
Yeah, right. I don't know what they could do. But if you want to argue about who has been the most loyal to Trump, then you would have to pick Ed Durr, because he won his election, an upset in the same style as Trump. And he is a Trumpster, okay? Pure and simple. But he, like you said, he doesn't have the statewide name recognition. He lost his last election, and he's not well funded. As for Bramnick, he is the quintessential country club Republican. Now, how does he get rid of that cloak? Because he comes across as a country club Republican, and to be perfectly frank, rather dull. He's fancied himself as a comedian. I saw some of his comedy routines. They're not very funny. Okay? So
he does have his own brand of vodka, by the way. Did you know that?
Well, I hope that goes well in a country club setting too. I don't know what to tell you.
You're not allowed to drink any of the vodka though until you're done with your debate coverage. No Bramnick vodka until you're done typing. We're talking to Dan Cerrucci, everyone, of dancerrucci.com. Check his website every day, but especially on Tuesday night when he will be there providing some coverage for his website and also SaveJersey.com at this very important date. Dan, thanks as ever for coming on. Thanks in advance for Tuesday night. And I'll give you a shout before then so we can talk about how it's going to go down.
Okay, looking forward to it.
Thank you, sir. Dan Cerrucci, everyone, on the Matt Rooney Show.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT. Your weekend just got a lot better. Sunday mornings with Barry Siebel and friends.
America gives you an opportunity. You have to take advantage of it. Go get an education. Go pick up a book and read. Go figure out what lane you're capable of being in so you could go make a living. The trades today, electrician, plumber, car mechanic. There's opportunities in America. Go get it, please.
Barry Siebel and friends. Listen Sunday mornings at 10 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
Hey Philly, this is Tom Bucks, General Manager of Tasty Baking Company. On behalf of Tasty Cake, I want to wish our team good luck in New Orleans. Be sure to have your favorite Tasty Cake treats like candy cakes and crimpets on hand as you cheer the Birds onto victory. Tasty Cake, accept no substitutes. Go Birds!
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Hey, this is Jimmy Fallon in the house, and dig this, folks. This is not a drill. It's the real thing. You can now join me weeknights from 7 to 10 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT or anywhere on the free Odyssey app.
Our boy Dan Cerrucci mentioned the Grammys. Guess what you missed, producer Dan? Apparently, your boy Kanye's wife
came naked,
showed up completely naked, and got asked to leave.
Yeah, I saw the picture on Twitter. Or X, whatever you want to call it.
But I'm sure when you saw the picture, you immediately turned away, right?
Yeah, I didn't really care. It doesn't... I'm not surprised by it one bit.
Oh, my God. What is wrong with that man? Well, there's no way to plumb the depths of that one. You're listening to the Matt Rooney Show, folks, on 1210 WPHT. Having fun with you this evening, this wintry evening. Apparently, and I only knew this because I'm looking at YouTube, it's snowing or snowing somewhere. I don't think it's snowing here in Center City.
Apparently it is.
But yeah, everyone over on the YouTube page, again, youtube.com/@1210WPHT, is talking about accumulation. Sue says we have a good inch. Roads are not good. I didn't know anything about this.
I didn't even know it was supposed to snow.
Yeah. So be careful getting around tonight if you're listening because you're on your way to or from work, or if you have an early morning, because apparently there's some powder coming. And I'm not talking about the kind of stuff that Hunter Biden sticks up his nose.
Booger sugar?
The booger sugar. Which...
Miami powder.
I would be remiss if we ended the evening without mentioning that, because once again, Donald Trump has been proven correct. Donald Trump always ends up being correct. Did you hear what the president of Ukraine had to say?
No.
So your boy Zelensky gave an interview and made, I think, not a surprising admission for those of us that have been paying attention, but an incredible one all the same. So he said that Ukraine allegedly received only $75 billion of the $177 billion in aid that was allegedly sent to it by the United States. The exact quote from Zelensky is, "I don't know where all this money is. We never received it." Excuse me?
Where'd it go?
Excuse me? $100 billion and we don't know where it is? I mean, we know the big guy got his cut, right?
It's just floating in the air?
I guess. Biden took his tax on it, I'm sure, for his retirement. And then, I'm not kidding, I'm sure Hunter probably put some of it up his nose with him and his buddies. And where the rest of it is, God only knows.
Do you think they send like a You know, like when you get a giant check, like when you win a contest, you think they send a giant check to other countries saying, like, here's your money?
Yeah, it's like Publishers Clearinghouse. Yeah. Anthony Blinken showed up at
do you think they have like the
embassy over there, yeah.
A wire transfer account where Joe Biden's like, I'm going to put in $100 billion.
It's right. It's like PayPal or Venmo.
Yeah, do you think that's how it is? Or
yeah, when you call your parents, you're like, I need $50. Yeah. Like, yeah, that's exactly how it works.
Hey, can you just Venmo me like $100 billion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to buy some more. Got to buy some more tanks to take on these North Korean conscripts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do they actually get the money? Like, our Treasury departments just link up?
Yeah, they just wire stuff. That's what it is. They wire the money. It's all electronic. No one shows up with a briefcase like in the movies.
I want my fair share of my wired money.
I mean, I would love that, but nobody's giving me $177 billion anytime soon. But this has been the complaint from the beginning, right? You know, I mean, most people that I know are not completely uncomfortable with the concept of giving the Chinese and Russian alliance problems, right?
China.
So the idea of funding anyone, albeit a corrupt government, that's causing them grief, I think you could have gotten a majority of Americans around that. But $177 billion and way more than half of it goes walking, and we're not allowed to ask questions as to whether or not this is a good continuing investment. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. Got to make that maximally Jersey because it's a big Jersey week.
Get out of here.
So as the show winds down this evening.
Oh,
I know.
Oh,
I know. And before Dan goes away for another vacation.
No. My February's pretty open, but April, May, June, July, March, that's a different story.
But for now, it's time for the most controversial segment in all of 1210 WPHT Radio.
Shut up.
It is. We've even had people on YouTube debating it tonight. They're the hater, they love it. And what is it?
Hey guys, gather round. Gather round.
It's Twit Talk time. It's the best segment of radio because we know that no one on the station usually uses TikTok, so they got to rely on the Gen Z to give all the TikTok updates. Am I right?
Nobody else is stupid enough to allow such a segment.
Actually,
you think Zioli would do this?
Rich has a TikTok account. I would know. I post stuff to it.
Yeah, but he would not let you do this on his show.
I don't know. Would
not
any other host let you? This was our idea.
Kale would not. Dom would not.
Kale's a different story. I feel like I could convince him to do it. He would just make fun of the stupid, and that's what we're doing.
Oh, that's true.
That's exactly what we're doing.
So what are we doing tonight?
Let's see. Where do we want to start?
For as long as we have content to get from TikTok. It's running low.
We'll start here. This is a good one. This woman is upset because she wasn't promised anything from Trump. She voted for Trump for one specific reason, and she's not getting what she wanted. Are you
sorry to hear that?
Yeah.
Trump's gonna take away your rights as a woman. Good. I don't want to work. I don't want to have to pay bills. I just want to be a wife that stays at home and makes bread. Liberals, you promised me that he'd take away my rights. Why do I still have rights? You liars.
Gal's got a point.
There you go. She's mad because her rights weren't taken away, and they promised that the rights were going to be taken away.
I thought January 21st, I would open up my front door and see all the women in the neighborhood walking around in Handmaid's Tale outfits, and I did not get that. Promises made, promises delivered. My hiney.
Yeah, I mean, she's upset. That's all she wants to do.
I get it.
Just a bread maker.
I get it.
This is a 5-second compilation of liberal women. I guess liberal, not specifically, but I guess senators. You tell me how accurate it is.
I will do so.
Black people, the insurrection, racism.
That's it. That's every confirmation hearing we've heard on Capitol Hill.
That was it?
Yeah, that was it.
And if you missed it, here you go.
Black people, the insurrection, racism.
Boom. Boom. I think she's the one that was handing Cory Booker notes. Did you see Cory Booker being handed notes?
No.
During the confirmation hearings? I think she was writing them for him.
I don't care about Cory Booker.
Yeah.
I
I'm
don't-
still blocked by Cory Booker on.
I don't think you're
X,
ever
but
going to get unblocked, but
I don't think I ever am going to.
I mean, you
Twitter
can beg and
now has
plead.
tweaked it in the age of Elon, where now I can still see some of his stuff,
that's good.
but I'm still blocked.
Do you know why you're blocked?
No, I don't. Well, I know why I'm blocked. I don't know the specific incident, if there was one, which led to the blocking.
I'll block you, just to feel something.
I assumed I was.
No, you're not. No.
Okay.
But
well,
maybe I want to go through like a teenage girl like hissy fit.
Well,
Like,
we've got
I'm blocking him.
We've
And
got a
then-
short Super Bowl hiatus. We won't be on next week, so between now and then, you can block me and we'll talk about it.
I also just don't go on Twitter that much. I'm not on it as much
Yeah,
as-
no, you're a TikToker.
Yeah. I
You're a Ricky Talkie Tavi.
completely got rid of Instagram too, so not on that. Mainly just TikTok.
Yeah.
So I got to soak that time up before it goes away. Let's see here. This guy has had this was, I guess, in January, but I haven't been here since January, so I really couldn't play this one. But he's had.
You know who won the election, right?
Yeah.
You've been gone for so
yeah,
long.
I did watch that.
The president is Donald Trump.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's the year 2025.
This guy or gal or whatever has had multiple bowel movements, and they decided to make a tracker.
A tracker of the bowel movements.
Yeah, not really. Like
I'm really hoping there's not sound effects.
It is the 9th day of the year, and I've just had my 41st bowel movement. This is absolutely satanic, so I'm blaming it on Aaron Rodgers.
You're the Green Bay fan, right?
I don't take responsibility for Aaron Rodgers anymore.
You should.
Nope.
You should.
No, I do
Is
not.
there an NFL team you don't cheer for?
The Eagles.
Okay. Besides the Eagles?
No. I'll cheer for any of them if I have to, but the Eagles are
But
the
not
number
the
one.
Eagles.
Correct.
You're the-
So 41 bowel movements, and it was only the 9th day of the month. Ain't that crazy?
You're such a terrible person.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
You're right. This, again, woman is complaining that they voted for a felon, but these other women vote for, or they are, this woman will explain it better.
I can't believe you voted for Trump. He's a felon. Yeah, well, so is your baby daddy, but you still let him in your Oval Office.
So you can let your baby daddy in, but you can't let Trump in.
I can't believe I voted for a felon. And all these people that are so worked up about Donald Trump being a felon, which of course we know the case is nonsense. You know, I mean, are you upset about the fact that your government just sent $177 billion to a country and over $100 billion of it is unaccounted for? You don't think there were any felonies involved in those transactions?
Also, when we voted for him, he wasn't considered a felon at that time. So you
Well,
technically
that's
didn't-
also true. You're
tec-
not a felon until you're sentenced.
So he technically wasn't a felon when you voted for him.
You know who is a felon now? Bob Menendez.
10
We'll
years
talk
in
about
prison.
that tonight. 11 years.
Is it 11? I think
Yeah,
it's 11.
In the federal system, you pretty much got to serve 85%. So he's going to be in his 80s when he gets out.
Is he actually going to prison?
Well, he's going to appeal. We'll see what happens on appeal.
So he's not going to go to prison. He's not going to serve an ounce.
Not
of
for a
prison.
while. He's not. He's supposed to report in June. He's
Okay.
got. He's probably out there trying to figure out where to hide his remaining gold bars while he's in jail.
Yeah. Yeah. You like game shows?
Not really.
All right. Well, we're going to skip this one. I didn't.
I don't.
Can you at least act like you like game shows?
All right, ask me again.
Do you like game shows?
Gee golly, I sure do, Dan.
Nope, still not doing it. Let's try it one more time. Do you like game shows?
Oh man, I love game shows.
Nope, still not getting it. One more time. Do you like game shows? Anyway, this guy has a new idea for a game show, which I would watch. It's very fascinating. Maybe you would as well. You could indulge.
Wait, listen to this TV show idea. 11 gay men, 1 straight man, island style. Vote 1 or 2 off every week, trying to vote off the straight one. 2 ways to win. The straight man lasts until the final 2 and gets all the prize money. The gay men vote off the straight man, and divide the cash prize. The trick is all of the men are straight, and we get 5 to 10 weeks of straight men convincing each other that they're more gay than the other guy. What? That's a really good idea.
You interested?
I would not participate, but I'd lie if I'd say that I might not sneak a peek at one episode. I will say, as that went on, I got a lot more interested.
See?
Yes.
See?
Yes.
It's just like MILF Manor.
Yes.
It's like one of those shows that no one wants to watch, but like if it's on, you're going to watch it. You know, you want to try and convince the other straight men that you're gay.
The name of the show would be Passing in Paradise. Trademark that right now.
Am I supposed to get it?
No, that counts when you play that hotkey.
All right.
Of you giggling like a small girl. That's trademarking. That is legal offense.
There you go. Stamp of approval.
Continue.
So there you go. Gay men, straight men trying to convince other straight men that they're
Passing in Paradise. It's going to be here.
Passing in Paradise. You remember?
By the way, Sandy over on YouTube says, how late does Rooney and Dan stay up? 10 p.m.
Yes, I go to bed immediately after the show.
Yes, we both. I actually have a
snuggle in
sleeping
there.
bag underneath here.
Yeah, we both snuggle in there.
I read Dan a story. I get him a glass of warm milk from the fridge.
Yeah.
And that's it. Kale comes in the morning around 5:30 and starts kicking me to get me out of here.
Yep. Yeah. You remember? You probably don't remember, but the one TikTok where the guy was like, "All right, then breastfeed me." Then you probably don't remember that.
No, I probably blocked that out.
Yeah, you probably did. Anyway, here's a girl who says, "If you know what, she can explain it better."
When babies cry, they get boobs in their mouth, and they stop crying. I'm just saying, like, the next time I cry...
What more could you want?
Was that the complete thought?
Yeah, that was the complete thought.
We've been talking a lot about logic versus emotion tonight. I understand the logic of it.
It's logic.
It's logic.
It's very good logic.
Better than most of the logic you hear on TikTok.
It's true.
We can say that much, right?
All my logic comes from Theo Vaughn, so...
Do we have any Theo tonight?
We do, but we have one more. We have one more before we can get to Theo Vaughn.
Okay. Just don't cut Theo.
I won't cut Theo. This guy found a new mating call. You curious at all?
Well, we need to hear what we're going to have as background music for Passing in Paradise, so...
You know how animals have mating calls? I've been thinking about the human mating call, and I think it's the Irish jig. Because if I'm talking to a baddie and I'm not interested, and then out of nowhere she starts doing the Irish jig, I'm on my knees. Pause. I'm on my knees, though.
Awkward silence.
You know, you had me tonight.
I also
up
exported
until
all this.
that one.
What?
Up until that one.
Let me tell you, I did an event yesterday. There was clogging. There was Southern clogging.
Southern clogging?
Yeah.
I didn't know that there was a Southern genre of clogging.
I don't know. They said there's cloggers, and I was like, well, this is interesting.
I would watch that.
It was just basically tap dancing. But
Can you say what kind of event it was?
It's for a travel company.
A travel company?
Yeah. Do you know how like Philly does like the Philly sports trips and they go all
Yeah,
over?
yeah.
It was like that, but it wasn't for sports. It was
But
just like-
people to go and watch clogging.
It was like tourist destinations, but like they brought out cloggers, and I'm like,
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would travel to see that.
No, you don't travel to see it. It was just like entertainment. Like they had singing, they had a band, they had, hey, this is what we do down at the South. Like, let's welcome some cloggers. You know what I mean?
Well, when you come to Philly, the area, you
get shot.
You think about, you get shot, and then somebody comes out and clogs.
And then you
or
also-
they do an Irish jig.
Or you see planes fly out of the sky.
Right.
Too soon? Okay.
Well, I mean, listen, I don't think you were being insensitive.
No, I wasn't.
You're simply commenting on how Philadelphia generally is a mess right now.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
I cleaned that up for you. You're welcome.
Are we ready for Theo Vaughn?
We're always ready for Theo Vaughn.
This one is not. I don't know how you make of this one. I don't know if it's racist or not, but it's Theo Vaughn. I don't know if it's Theo Vaughn. So
that's usually a good indication that it should not be played.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Like he doesn't say anything bad, but like I don't know how you would want to take it. But it's Theo Vaughn. It's comedy. It's like it's fine.
Well, look, he was at the inauguration.
It's like it's fine.
He fell out of a chair.
It's fine. You ready?
I don't know.
I
don't endorse this, whatever it is, until I hear it.
I'm just noticing that now. Cool.
What do you just notice?
Did you get new headphones?
New headphones?
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Nice. Cool.
My old one's broke.
I know. All right, here's Theo Von.
Tough making friends as an adult. My whole life,
Also, let me make he had that his show or podcast allows callers. So this one caller is calling in just to get
always ended up with black friends. I played basketball and Navy. Out of 200 white guys, 5 black guys, I ended up being friends with the black guys. But I want some white friends.
You know, basketball is a gateway drug to just a brotherific type shit. Go out into your neighborhood right now, dribble a basketball in the street, see if a couple brothers don't show up. You know, that's that. Just you hear a basketball banging on that street. That's the Michael Jordan mating call, cut. You know, that's how it is, man. You put a rim up anywhere, and you gonna get some black friends, man. That's not a.
I like that you cut it right as he's about to say that's not a racist thing.
No, I exported these. I exported these wrong, so I don't know when there's black. Towards the end.
Racial thing. That's just facts.
There you go. Not a racial thing, just facts.
Not a racial thing, just facts.
There you go.
Could be a slogan for the show. It's not a racial thing on the Matt Rudy Show, just facts.
There you go. So if you want, it's the brotherific tendencies.
That's Twit Talk, everyone. For as long as we have it, I'm actually now rooting for TikTok's demise so that we can have an excuse not to do this.
Shut up.
You know what? I'm signing you up for Passing in Paradise. May the odds ever be in your favor, Daniel. Oh, well, I guess that's it, folks. Another Matt Rooney Show. Programming note, no program next week because of this little thing called the Super Bowl that the Eagles are playing in. But we will be back the following week with more fun and games here on 1210 WPHT. Until then, stay safe, stay sane, and keep fighting for this greatest nation in God's creation. Go Birds, Daniel!
Go Chiefs!
But I know I'm gonna change that tune when I'm back on top.
Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898.